side for the camera.
Dee Dee! Come on.
No, okay.
Every time. She's very lax today, it's cool. Say hey, baby.
Alright guys, well, that's the house. You've seen what we do in the office, and that's been where we get most of our content in, but this is where we get the energy to make the content. So.
Yeah, we got a comment saying we should do a house tour.
Hey guys, welcome to this year's videos with the NFL preseason predictions. Got a couple changes to the format that we had compared to last year that I'd like to go over really quickly. We have new camera angles. We're going with a podcasting style with attached webcams for all of the participants. I think it'll be a little bit more engaging than just having blank graphics with just audio behind it. I think it'll be a little bit more fun to see facial expressions and reactions to hot takes and when we think someone's going crazy. So hope that you enjoy this new camera format, and we'll be experimenting more with it on other video types on the channel as we go, starting to understand how to use it. Again, we've also gone up in participants from just myself and Ben to also including DJ and Griffin. So we've got a panel of 4 people to go over all these teams and all the craziness that I'm sure is going to unfold this season. When some things change, other things stay the same. You'll still be able to see our schedule predictions, win-loss records for each team on the screen with the webcams, as well as the same team graphics that were there last year, as well as the roster block and a little new block that I've included that has some of the statistics from last year's team. So their record, their division record, their sort of production on both sides of the ball. And I think that helps to sort of understand the team that is coming out of last year into this year and sort of what you could maybe look to expect from that kind of team. So hopefully that hopefully you get some enjoyment of having that on the screen for your viewing pleasure. Again, when it comes to viewing pleasure, I know that a lot of people sort of drop comments or DMs to me about the length of these videos. Going from 2 participants to 4 participants, obviously the videos are going to get a little longer to include all of the stuff that we have to talk about. But in saying that, feel free to sort of jump around and watch the parts of the NFL that you're interested in or that you have some sort of opinion that you'd like to compare. Don't feel obligated to watch every single second of all these videos. I know it's a lot, and obviously the season's already started. You'll probably be able to see these at the beginning of week 3, and that's just to continue the tradition of completely underestimating how much work these videos really and truly take to put together and make them enjoyable to watch. So I'll try to get better next time. As you go through, watch what you're interested in. Feel free to sort of skip around and drop the comments as soon as you find something that you want to talk about or an opinion that you want to challenge. We love that kind of engagement, and I think that will carry the momentum into our commitment to doing some mid-season and maybe the beginning of postseason content related to these predictions. Try to get the panel back to talk about everything that we are going to cover in these videos and see how that differs from the reality that is unfolding currently. So hope to see you guys in the comments section. Would love to engage with you as the season goes on, and feel free to come back to these videos often, especially towards the end of the season. Hopefully our playoff predictions aren't that far off, but that'll be really fun to see how all of the NFL season boils down to 7 teams on each side and we'll be able to see which of the four of us was the most right in getting that guessed. So anyway, enough rambling. I'm going to let you guys get to the video, but please like, comment, subscribe, share. Particularly share. I think these videos have the power to sort of bring conversation together. I think everyone loves to bond over football, so love to see a lot of commenting and sharing going on to really get engaged with you guys on these videos, and hopefully that carries the momentum into some more NFL related content on the channel, as well as other content that we have planned in the future for the channel that's not related to sports. So we're still cranking on a bunch of other videos and hope to have those to you very soon, but for now I'll let you get to the preseason prediction videos. Thanks, guys. Personally, I would like to start in the NFC East because I have zero expectations for this division whatsoever. Personally, I think Philly wins the division, but by a little bit, and then the rest of it is just who even cares. So
I need a red blinking light, dude. We need a red blinking light. This is the first hot take of first hot take of the night, and you're already killing it, dude. Because I was like, yo, let's not go with the East first, and then you're like, I guess we're gonna start at the NFC East.
What's your Philadelphia hot take?
What's your Philadelphia hot take?
13-4, man. That is the ceiling for this team. That is my hot take. My hot take. So in the NFC, my teams to watch. The number one team to watch in this division is going to be the Eagles for the entire NFC. Because if you look at who they actually play, they should be able to stumble, fall on their face, and get wins. I'm not even joking. I will pull up their schedule.
Yeah. So who are your four losses?
Who are your 4 losses?
Yeah, I mean, because I'm looking at it. Let's see.
I got them losing to the Green Bay Packers because Aaron Rodgers, discount double check. I've got them losing to the Saints because I'm Saints biased. I can't have them beat the Saints. That's just never gonna happen. I have them losing to the Tennessee Titans, and I think I had it to where they weren't gonna beat the Cowboys twice.
So they split with the Cowboys to get the 4th.
They split with the Cowboys. I think they beat the Cowboys once and they lose the second time, or they lose the first time and win the second time. But I think looking at who they play, based off of what we saw last year, and most of the teams that they're playing not go through significant roster changes, and them actually adding a lot more talent to their roster on top of defensive talent, they should be one of the best teams in football. At least from a schedule perspective. They should fall forward and get wins. That's all I'm saying. That's the hot take. It's a little hot to the touch, but that's it.
Okay, so I'm gonna take your hot take and just put it in some water, and I'm at a lukewarm 10-7 on the Eagles.
Nah, man, no way.
To me, I think the Eagles, they go 10-7, they win the division, and they win it by a game, and the rest of this division is just whatever. But to me, I think that I'm not going to go through everything, but I agree with all of your losses, DJ, and then add on a couple others, because personally, I think that Arizona will be good enough to beat them. Indianapolis will also be good enough to beat them. I
don't know, man. Do you think their quarterback can study enough to win a game?
Hey, we'll get to those jokes when we cover the Cardinals.
I'm sorry.
No, but yeah, I personally, I'm 10-7 is going to be enough to win this division. I'm obviously not hot taking on the Eagles, so. What do y'all have for that?
Yeah, I'm sold on the Eagles in this division as well. I have them at 11-6, so we're all in the same spot, I think, except for maybe Griffin. Griffin maybe will go Cowboys if he's just wrong.
He's been real quiet,
but he'll be just wrong. Let's be honest, he'll just be wrong.
Well, Philly last year, it was hard watching a lot of their games because a lot of their games were super super close. Like, they were games that they probably just should have won. And so I'm very torn, but I gave them 11 wins because their schedule was just easy. So the NFC East, they play the NFC North, the AFC South, and then they have your divisional rivals twice. Those are a lot of free wins. You got the Lions, you got Jacksonville, you've got Houston. So those are easy wins. And then your division is one of the easiest in football, if not the easiest, other than probably the AFC South. So,
quick,
the NFC East for a reason.
Quick point of order, because it will also be on the screen as part of this year's graphics. The 4 NFC East teams have the bottom 4, if you look at 1 through 32, as strength of schedule, because they play each other. This division is. But
just they also drew the AFC South, so it's like they have. It's the easiest strength of schedule in football, and between Dallas. Now, I mean, Dallas did go 12-5 last year. I don't know how they did that, but they managed to go 12-5. I don't think they're going to have as much success this year. They have a lot of talent on that team. I think Philly will be better, more consistent than they will, and win out the division. I mean, I still think it's a 2-horse race. It's between Dallas and it's between Philly, because I just don't believe in the other two. But I have Philly edging out Dallas by 1 game. I think they split their games, and they have 1 game over at 11-6 to win that division. But it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be a pretty year for either of those two teams. I think they're going to probably lose games that they really shouldn't be losing, and they'll pull out some wins against a good team. Like, maybe they go and beat in Arizona, maybe they beat a Green Bay or a Tennessee or something like that. But they're going to end up probably missing games that they're not supposed to lose and winning games that they just have no business winning. But they'll end up somewhere around 11 wins, 10 wins.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with everyone here. I think we're all thinking that Washington is going to win the NFC East. Just kidding. It's going to be the Eagles. It's definitely going to be the Eagles. Just had to throw that out there. I agree with DJ. I think that the Eagles are going to have the easiest schedule in the NFL, period. But that's not going to say that they're not going to struggle and they're going to give up those games. I have them going 10-7, and the rest of the division's kind of just middle of the pack. But it's just if the Eagles can't win 10 games, something is wrong. Something is clearly wrong with that team.
Yeah,
they have to.
Usually I'm not a betting man, right? In general. But there are 2 bets I am willing to make this year, and Ben, I will put $10 down on both. You have a chance of winning $20 of my money. The first one,
Jackson out of you? Let's go.
The first one is if the Eagles win more than 11 games.
Yeah, because
more than or including 11 games.
It's got to be more than 11, so they got to be at 12.
So 12
if they're
plus.
12 plus, you owe me $10. Anything below that,
hey,
I'll take you on that one.
Comment section, keep these 2 accountable.
I'll take you on that one. Okay.
Man, on my word, check.
All right, 12
comment
plus.
section.
I'll do that for 12 plus.
12 plus. If they win 12 plus games, you owe me 10.
All right.
Okay.
Saving your second one for later.
Hey, that's that click. Okay. That's the hey. You
gotta
watch to
That's
the
how
end.
I believe. That's how much I believe in the hot take, dude. Come on, look at their roster on paper. I think if they even have a shred, and I mean literally a shred of working together, being able to actually play the game of football.
Knowing how to play football, that doesn't sound
AJ Brown,
that doesn't sound like the Eagles
Devontae Smith, those 2 alone already sound like a problem. Then you've got Miles Sanders, right? You still got Boston Scott on the team.
It's the hometown.
You have a good offense. The offense isn't the part that I'm worried about, though.
Yeah,
I'm not really worried about the defense anymore. You still got Fletcher Cox. You added the who's the new guy? It's not Marcus Epps. It's who was it?
I'm way less concerned about the defense given the schedule but I still think with that, like, addition by subtraction, I guess, like addition to your defense by subtraction of the schedule, I still think 10 is really pushing it, because I also feel like the incentive to be better than that is just not going to be there. Like, honestly, DJ, I'll take the reins from you, and my hot take is that Dallas and the Giants are going to tie for second at 7-10. That's my hot take.
That is piping.
My hot take.
Piping hot.
My hot take is that the Giants are going to be good enough to win more games than they really should with Daniel Jones at the helm. But I think no, I'm not going to give Daniel Jones.
Wait, more games than they lose?
No, I think they're going to win more games than they should because of Daniel Jones. I think they make it to 7-10, and honestly, I feel like they parlay that into a big free agent wanting to be there. Because I think the rest of the talent around him is just primed. Like, for me, Saquon has to be healthy this year, because no one could possibly be that hurt all the time unless your name is Christian McCaffrey. So, like, I'm going to go with Saquon is going to be healthy, and he's going to have a little bit of a return to form and, like, return to being prominent in the offense, just like McCaffrey is in the Carolina offense. And to me, I just feel like I'm giving them a couple games that it's like, okay, what are you smoking? But in my head, they parlay that into one of these free agents that are just lingering out there that will need a new home. So whether that's Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold, whichever one gets kicked out of Carolina, I see one of those guys making their way to New York. Or I could also see, like, if Green Bay is going to commit to Jordan Love sometime this century and they throw Aaron Rodgers out, he would love to be in a big market like New York. Or Jimmy G is still out there as of recording, but that could change any minute because San Francisco is really trying to dump him.
I mean, yeah, but he's more of a backup, though. I mean, I agree with you with the Giants. My ceiling for the Giants is actually at 8-9, realistically. I don't see them winning more than 9 games simply because it's the Giants.
It's the Giants.
It's the Giants. They're just bad. Like, nothing. Yeah. It's a reason why it's called the NFC Least, right? It's because it's the easiest conference to actually win, but somehow magically every year, by the end of the year, every team is somehow sitting around like the 8 and
Everyone's
like 8 mark, 8 and 7, whatever, 4 and whatever, and somehow still almost able to win their division, which is weird to me. I don't know how it happens every year, but they're all just that bad. It happens, right? The Giants, no exception. So I agree with you. Like I said, all my like records are like ceilings, right? This is how high I believe the team is going to get, and I think the Giants are a solid 8-9 going into next year.
Ben's just like ready to drive on both of us. You can see it on his face.
You want to know the last time that the Giants won 7 games?
Probably with Eli.
2016 Eli Manning.
Oh, I was going to say 2014.
I have zero faith in this team. I think Daniel Jones is on his last year in New York, and they're going to go draft somebody else. This is his last chance to prove himself, and I don't think he has it. Saquon is a generational talent, but I just have no trust in this team whatsoever. They are a 4-13 team for me.
Again? You got them repeating?
They are losing the division at 4-13. Yes, I've got Dallas. I've got Dallas at second, but New York is 4-13. Yeah, I just maybe they stay healthy, maybe, but that team has been crushed by injuries the past few years, and they have no pieces. Like, if everything isn't clicking, if everything's not clicking for them, they're not going to win more than 7 games. And that's if everybody stays healthy. If everybody stays healthy, I don't think they win 7 games. But I don't think they're all going to stay healthy with how many injuries they've gotten over the past years.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely reserve the right to be 100% wrong on this team, given the health or lack thereof of Saquon as a person.
Yeah.
Because this is basically, like, the hot take is basically Saquon can't possibly be dead 3 years in a row, so he'll have to do something.
Oh, he can.
But he can, my
Yeah.
dear
My fantasy
friend.
team tells me that he
Yeah,
can.
Ben, you're not allowed to draft Saquon. I need this hot take to work out for me.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Griffin, what you got for these Giants,
For
man?
those that don't know the fantasy football lore, well,
I swear to God, Cody and I didn't conspire at all. I have the Giants at 7-10. I have them getting 7 wins. It's weird. I think the Giants are going to be sneaky good, but like just they're bad. They're going to be sneaky good, but they're bad.
Sneaky
Does that
good,
make sense
bad.
for people?
Yeah. It's like a 50-50 shot if they're going to be absolute shit or just mildly bad. Team.
I've got another team later that we'll talk about that I would consider sneaky good, but this is like just like you don't know what you're gonna get on a weekly basis. This is like peak Kirk Cousins going on this team.
Entertaining. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch the Giants
A
game
dumpster fire.
just to watch some 65-yard bomb that magically worked out. That's why I'm gonna watch the Giants.
Basically.
I'm ready for all the dumpster fire games that we're going to get with the Giants. Detroit, Jacksonville, Houston, where you're like, which team wants to lose more? That's what I'm waiting for. Those are the games I'm waiting for.
To lose.
But they have they have so much talent. I got them as like a solid 10-win team this year. Like it kind of pains me to put them over 500, but since they can't be at 500 anymore, I have them right there, right at 10-7. I think they could be a wild card team. They have too much talent on that team. They have too much talent invested in that team. Now, what happens next year with all that, we'll see.
People that will be up for contracts.
Yeah, this year, 10-7, they're probably going to lose some. They're going to lose some hard games. Like all their random games that they play that aren't in those divisions is Cincinnati, the Rams, and Tampa Bay. I have them losing all 3 of those. So, like, those are hard games, but I have them winning against, like, the Titans and the Colts. I think I have them winning both of those games. I think the only team other than that, I think they win every AFC South game, I think, as I had them. But I just don't think that the AFC South is that strong.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe you have, like, Green Bay, I think, beats them, but I think they probably mess around and beat the Bears. Minnesota and Detroit don't scare me for them with their talent. So, like, 10-7 is probably a little low on where they could be. But since I have Philly winning that division, I have to think that they're going to be, 10-7 right underneath Philly. Their strength of schedule is so easy that if they don't get 10 wins, it's McCarthy might be in the hot seat if they don't get 10 wins. That's the way I'll put it.
If they don't get 10 wins, I see Sean Payton next year, and every New Orleans fan.
Don't betray us like that. Don't betray us like that.
I guarantee. Jerry Jones will throw the law. He will literally break laws to get that man on there if it guarantees his team a Super Bowl. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
I don't disagree with Jerry Jones's self-centeredness, but I don't think that helps him win any games. Yeah. I think, honestly, Ben, I think you're going to be on the high end in terms of the win totals for Dallas. I'm at 7-10, like I said. I mean, I just cannot see, like, to me, in the same way that I'm, like, banking on a lot in terms of how their season goes. But to me, when I look at Dallas, I see a team that just, like, does not want to play for their coach whatsoever. Like, I don't think Mike McCarthy could inspire, like, the 300 Spartans. Like, he just is not the right coach for this situation, and I just see them as a complete, like, doormat of it. Like, this is the year where everybody's going to start questioning, is Dak the guy? Is Zeke the guy going forward? You shouldn't have gotten rid of Amari Cooper. Is CeeDee Lamb the guy? Is Mike McCarthy going to drive UPS trucks next year? Like, it's just going to be a whole mix of who invited all these guys to be in Dallas. Like, Dallas is supposed to be the place where everybody wants to play, and seemingly no one that is there wants to play good football. That's my read on this team. in general.
All right, man. I'm just going to say it. I don't know what Ben's got in the water over there, but I'm going ahead and say it, man. When the most interesting thing about your offense is literally Tony Pollard, I've got issues, okay? I said it a couple years back when Zeke was sitting there throwing his little hissy fit, sitting on the sideline or sitting at home, and he looked like a
Pillsbury Doughboy.
A Pillsbury Doughboy, because he was like, I'm not going to play until you extend my contract, right? I said it then. Leave his fat butt on the couch. Leave him. He's not worth it. The kid's been in the league how many years? Somebody give me the number. Is it like 6?
I think
Six
we're
or
on
seven.
6 or 7, because, I mean, he
He played in the 2016 national championship, right? Or was it 15?
2016.
Oh, wow.
So
less than
6
that.
years.
So he's been in for 6 years, okay? This guy has been the most unimpressive 6-year running back I think I have seen from that class. And that's saying something. There's a lot of people that just drop out. But the sad reality is that he got the bag, which is even worse. Like, not only are you getting scammed, he lost weight last season and still looked unimpressive, which is even weirder to me. Like, the sad reality is that the Dallas offense looked good when Zeke was off the field, and they stumbled to 12 wins. That is sad to me. When he's off the field, you look better like an offense because the other guy actually wants it. I don't see that, like, I want to be on the field, I want to win games out of him, right? And now you've got, more or less, I feel like the Dallas Cowboys are now paying the piper because you got rid of Amari Cooper, which was making your star CeeDee Lamb actually get open. So what are you going to do? Force passes to him? Well, yeah, you play some really bad teams, but the good teams that you do play, once they double cover that guy, who are you going to throw it to? Because Gallup's on the pup list right now.
Yeah, I mean, Ben alluded to it, like Tampa Bay, Cincy, Rams, like all those teams are deep playoff run, strong secondary kind of teams. So to me, I think getting rid of Amari Cooper, even if you're not going to throw him 12 balls a game anymore, if you think that he's declined, he'll at least draw a double. He'll at least draw like a safety over the top to his side. But with this team, to me, I put them on the low end because I just don't, not that I don't believe in CeeDee Lamb, I don't believe in the overall Dallas structure to like support the stars. So to me, like CeeDee Lamb is everybody's gonna think CeeDee Lamb is garbage, but it's literally just like no one else is here. Cedric Wilson's gone, Amari Cooper's gone, Gallup may not play. Tight
Pretty
ends.
sure Gallup is like out at least for the first like 7 weeks or something like that. I thought he like tore like a meniscus or something. It was something crazy that happened. And they also, I believe, lost like a safety, if I remember correctly, at practice. Like he literally just couldn't even walk off. It was already like, man, y'all are looking
Dallas
a little
Cowboy
rough over there in
here.
Dallas.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, maybe Cody's in it to get my money. In comment section, you can hold me to this too. Ben, this is an even easier bet. If they get over 7 wins, that's my second $10. I'm not putting any more money into this season. 20 is the max right now. Maybe next year.
Okay.
Maybe next year. Maybe some other stuff happens. Some other trees start shaking loose, and maybe we can bump up the money to maybe 25. Maybe you get a little lucky. Okay, you get some sense in there. But this year it's only 20. Okay, I will give you $10 extra if they make over 7 wins.
Easy.
That's how confident I am.
Favorite.
That is how confident I am that the Dallas Cowboys are going to be America's team that is the most underwhelming team to watch in football.
They're a good preseason team. They can't win playoff games.
Nobody cares about the preseason. You can be
regular season.
6-0 in the
not the preseason.
in the
regular
preseason.
Season. They're a good regular season team. You look at their records over the past years. When Prescott was healthy, when he wasn't healthy, they still won like 6 games. But when he has been healthy, they've won.
That's also
games.
because in those times when he was gone, you're still in the NFC East. Your odds of winning games are still high because you play Washington and New York and the Eagles.
I think the East is slightly more competitive this year than it was last year, but I still don't think it's strong enough to stop the Cowboys from getting to double-digit wins. Like, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard.
Griffin's shaking his head. He's like, I gotta get in here.
Cowboys are going 7-10. They are going 7-10, and they are actually losing to the New York Giants twice. Okay, that is going to happen.
This is my guy, dude. Your replacement. Get out of here.
Dak Prescott is the most overrated quarterback in the NFL. He's the most talked about quarterback, and he still underperforms every single year. Him and Zeke should be in their primes right now, or at least Dak should be going into his prime. I don't see it. I don't see what everyone talks about like they do year after year. Especially their defense. They lost. How many players did they lose on defense?
Well, I mean, they just signed Anthony Barr from Minnesota, but I mean,
see what they've done transaction-wise.
I don't have that in front of me.
Uh,
I mean, everyone talks about the offensive players shifting around because, like,
I take this back. They are going to lose a bunch of games because they released Greg the Leg. So.
Well, you know.
Well,
special teams.
Don't come back on it now. We don't want you on this side of the pond.
I was checking on y'all. They're still going to lose a bunch. They'll lose a bunch. They're still win.
I have the Cowboys going 5-5 against losing teams and only 2-5 against winning teams.
That feels
That's
like
over
Dallas
500
stats
teams.
right there. That feels like Dallas level.
That feels very Dallas-y.
Yeah.
That sounds
right.
about right.
That felt right in my bones.
And at home, they're going to go 5-4, and away, they're going to go 2-6.
Boy, this man got it. I thought I hated Dallas.
He's coming with
he came with the stats 2-6 away. It's like, okay, well.
Right, I just can't think that they're going to be that bad with.
Listen, man.
With Barr, Van Der Esch. So they got Anthony Barr, Van Der Esch, and Parsons as their linebackers. Like, those 3 linebackers alone should help their defense do literally anything. I mean, like...
Look, okay? As much as I am an advocate of defense wins games, okay? That's a Saints motto. It only works on the Saints. The Saints are by far the only team that I've seen in recent history of football that can literally have an offense that is rated 30th and still make it to the playoffs and make a good run. And that's simply because our defense is just that good. Dallas, historically speaking, even back in the days,
they just choke.
When they were winning games, and they were America's team, they were the team, their offense has always been here, right? This is the bar, and this is like every other team. Dallas in recent years, they've gone significantly down under that bar, right? They don't know which direction's up. They think it's a submarine, but actually it's a plane. Nobody knows what's going on with the Dallas Cowboys, okay? So my thing is, coming out the gate, I think they lose the first 2 games, and once they lose the first 2 games, their confidence is shot. I think we're going to hear stuff of coming out the locker room that people are fighting. They're sitting there, playing dice and shooting dice in the corner. They're not going to know what's going on with the Dallas Cowboys. I'm being real. Okay? The Dallas Cowboys, to me, feel like they are in shambles because there's no way, no matter how much money I paid Zeke and how much money I paid Dak, was I going to let Amari Cooper go, knowing that literally I had 2 wide receivers, 3 with Gallup before he was on the PUP list, right, that I could actually throw it to, and it looked good. Now, you're like, we don't need Amari. Send him over to the Browns, right? Yeah, get that guy over there, right? So you send him away. Cool. Gallup goes down. Now you're like, oh, dang, dude. Wait, hold up.
What are we
We
going
got
to do now?
Sydney Lamb, and this kid's new, and he's like a hothead. Oh, God. Like, the only thing that could happen worse is that we have, like, a Deshaun Watson situation with CD, and then, we find out that he's, out for the rest of the season. Then what do?
Those jokes.
Go hire the mailman at freaking UPS and call it a day.
They're not the Saints. They don't go and find janitors to make wide receivers. But the Cowboys' schedule is. I feel like it's too easy. Their last 5 games: Houston, Jacksonville, Philly at home, Tennessee, and Washington. I don't know what kind of team Tennessee is going to be like. Really, I assume they'll be. They got
dollars for AJ Brown, and they still got Derek. I'm a freight train Henry. I think they'll be fine.
That's the biggest thing is I think they'll probably still be a wild card, if not a division contender for that division. But again, it's a 2-horse race in that division. But against Tennessee is one of my random BS wins that they have no business winning, and so I have them splitting with Philly. And I have them winning at home.
I'm splitting with Philly.
Because of that, I have them winning the last 5 games.
No.
Of the which
I have them losing the last 3 games.
That's fair. I have them winning the last 5 games of the season because they catch that confidence against Houston and Jacksonville and just beat the piss out of them. And I think
Just carry that with them.
Tennessee will probably take their foot off the gas a little bit. Because I don't think Indianapolis is going to be quite as good as they were in the past few years where it's that competitive. So I think Tennessee will be a little farther ahead. So I think they maybe take their foot off the gas a little bit in Week 17. Maybe Henry only plays for the first half, unless he has a killer year and is looking for like some kind of rushing title or anything like that.
Some
where
kind
he's
of
like most yards or most TDs or something.
level stuff, yeah.
Yeah, unless he's looking for some kind of like records or MVP. I think he probably doesn't play all of that game because Tennessee's in a good spot. So they should probably win that game with a second-team offense on the field since they'll still be competing behind Philly to try to take the division. And I don't think Washington's any good at all. So
yeah,
I was just about to say, do we actually have to do the Washington section, or can we just skip them?
They're going to be garbage.
Let me just preface: we do have to talk about the Commanders because they did have a name change. They were the football team last year, so that's commendable.
They should have stayed with the football team.
That did.
What's
play
a commander
very well.
other than like a guy in the military? I guess I don't like it.
Chief. Anyway,
Switch back to the football team. Go back to the drawing board. Honestly, with how soft everybody's being, go back to being the Redskins. I literally don't care. Like you can go back to being...
If you're gonna change it, just go be the Red Wolves. That was like kind of neat.
That was they had some good ones that came out.
The Red Hawks was like
But this is my only thing. Sorry, I'll let you go.
So we are going to have to talk about them also because this will reference to me and Ben's video that I did last year where my hot take of last year was that Washington was like going to rule the division.
Oh, you thought they were the God Squad and then
they just
broke his leg.
Took a knee on that season. So just for posterity's sake, we're going to talk about them to compare to how I feel about them this year, which is not great.
Proper expectations.
Yeah.
Proper expectations of this team. Go ahead.
I'm going to highball just because their schedule is also terrible, and I'm going to give them 6-11. But I could very well be wrong on that. My personal opinion is Carson Wentz is literally a whatever is beneath Kirk Cousins and Jimmy G in people's eyes, like he's there. Like the guy that was about to win the MVP and his team was about to win the Super Bowl, that guy is dead and gone. Like he's pulled a reverse Jameis. Like Jameis has had this second career stint of his life where he's a much better player than he was in Tampa Bay. Carson Wentz is the exact opposite. He was a one-hit wonder for 13 games where he was about to win an MVP, and now he's like barely scraping by. I think that nothing about Washington excites me except for their defense. Like nothing about their offense says that they'll win a ton of games, but for my money, they'll get a couple easy ones because they've got Houston, they've got Atlanta, they've got Cleveland. So that's 3 freebies as far as I'm concerned. So for me, 6-11 is high ball, but I could very well like see them losing some of the other ones that I don't have them losing. That's just my take on it.
I have a very high ball compared to y'all's.
Oh, okay. We'll save Ben for last. We'll save Ben for last. Griffin, let's hear from you.
Wait, what now?
We're gonna hear from you because it sounds like Ben's gonna be the hot take guy, so we'll leave him last. What you got?
More like the delusional take, but all right.
I have them going 7-10. I have literally, if you look at my standing in the NFC Beast, it's going to be Philly, and then New York, Washington, Dallas, all back to back at 7-10.
Just a pile up on turn 3, basically.
Yeah, I don't know how it happened. It just so happened to come out at 7-10 when I was making the schedule. But I mean, it says I have them going 6-6 in the division, and then 4. I believe it's 4-2 in the conference.
I think.
Conference. I have them going 6-6. Division. I have them going
4-2.
4-2.
Do you have them splitting with Philly?
I don't know.
Or...
With Philly, let me see.
You said 2, so that's why I'm saying, do they lose both against Philly, or do they split with Philly and then split with someone else?
Yeah, I have them splitting with Philly, and I think I have them splitting with Dallas.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right. DJ, what's your mediocre, lukewarm take before we get to the hot take?
So this is my issue with the Washington Redskins, right?
They're the Commanders,
so
DJ.
I've got them at like a 7-10, right? I think Carson Wentz is way overrated. Dude's like a shell of like, his former self, right? It's like, Benjamin Button, he just gets, as he gets older or some crap, he just gets worse, right? Fine. But like, when you really start to look at their roster on paper, you feel like you can get a little wiggle room. Like their ceiling might be like a game or two a little bit higher than that. Simply because, it's like, I'm sitting there reading like, some of the people from their defense, right? Like, you've got Chase Young, you got Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Montez Sweat. Like you start reading off some names, and then you start looking at the offense. You're like, okay, what kind of offensive weapons do they have? It's like, okay, cool, they got Jahan Dotson. Dude was pretty good in college at Penn State. Let's see what he looks like whenever he's in the pros. You got Terry McLaurin, which that kid was literally tearing it up last year. Looked like that man was scary. And then you got Curtis Samuel. So, like, you don't necessarily have the worst.
If you're about to rag
weapon.
on Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick, I was about to go off on you. So if you're about to rag on them,
no. The only person that's going to get ragged on is Carson Wentz.
Good.
The issue that I have is that the focal point of your football team is a guy who hasn't been able to prove himself in the last, 6 years.
Since he was a rookie, basically.
Since he was good. It's just gone worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, right? So it's like, at this point, I don't know. There's wiggle room, but Carson Wentz. That's the take. Carson Wentz. If he shows up and he looks like he wants to win a Super Bowl and not soak a paycheck, there's potential.
Okay, Ben.
If he comes out looking like Carson Wentz of Carson Wentz, where he's about to get sacked for the 4th time that game, and instead of just throwing it out of bounds, he tries to force it to his receiver, somehow stumbles into the hand of a linebacker, and then they score another touchdown right there in front of your end zone, then we know how this season's going to go.
8-9. I think they have to get 8 games. There's no way they don't pick up 8 games. because
when there's a will,
there's definitely
there's
a
a
way
way.
to make games. But you have literally so you're like, man, this team's going to be awful. Jacksonville, Detroit out the gate should be 2 easy, no problem wins. Maybe you
sleep on
struggle.
Jacksonville.
I'm taking a nap. I'm going into
Taking
a
a
coma against Jacksonville, dog.
siesta.
Yeah. We're going to a coma against Jacksonville.
Oh my God.
Jacksonville and Detroit should be fairly easy wins. The problem is after that, I have them losing 5 straight because that's where their meat and potatoes of their schedule is, and I don't think they hold up. I think I have them taking, let's see, week 8, which is I believe Indianapolis. I'm winning that game, but then I have them turning around and losing to Minnesota. So a very inconsistent team. But I have them beating Cleveland in week 17, and then they clean up Houston, Atlanta, and the Giants. They have Giants back-to-back off of a bye week. I'm winning both those games. I have them beating Atlanta, and I'm beating Houston, which is a 3-4 win. So then I have them beating Cleveland because I don't know what's going to happen in Cleveland. We kind of mentioned a bit earlier, and we'll talk about them further on. But I think, that's where I have their 8 wins coming from, which when I tried to argue myself, there's no way this team has 8 wins. I'm like, there's no way they don't have 8 wins. I tried. I had them losing both games to Philly. I had them losing both games to Dallas. Normally they'll flip those every once in a while. And I looked at the rest of the teams that they play, and I'm like, well, they're not going to win those. I don't think any game they play. If any game they play is close, there's a problem. Any game that they go into should be they blow somebody out or they get blown out. I feel like there shouldn't be any in between. I don't have them closely beating Jacksonville. I don't have them closely beating Detroit. I don't have them hanging around with Philly or, Green Bay or any of them. They're not going to hang around with those teams. So, this team, I guess if they don't show up on the days that they're supposed to win, sure, they'll lose more games than that. But,
Nah, they'll just be next door. They'll show up, but they'll be next door.
So 2 things. One, I love how we built up Ben as the hot take guy on this team.
No, it's not as
one
hot.
game.
It's more like lukewarm.
One game above everyone else.
You were at 6 and you were at 6-11. Okay,
but you were making it sound like you were going to give them 10 wins for some reason.
No, I wanted to give them 9, and I was like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Okay, but second, I just want to go around. I just want to go around the 4 of us. So, does anybody have them beating Indianapolis? You have wow. Okay, 2 out of 4.
Revenge.
Okay, see, because I looked at that game. And all the bad blood between Carson Wentz and Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts. I was like, nah, I can't. I gotta give it to the Colts. They're just a way better team. But that would be hilarious if he plays against the team that was like, you have to get out of here because we cannot possibly win with you, and then he's like, oh no, I got you. Let me just.
It's one of the reasons why I have him winning that one.
So
he's
you're
out for blood.
You're on Carson Wentz's team.
Blood in the water.
Yeah.
Look, if he's gonna play any game this season, well, that's the game that he has to play well.
To prove that he's
not a shitter. To prove that he's just not a good QB.
Yeah.
To make, you're
gonna have to make it up somewhere, right?
Yeah, now given you're in an easy division, you have an easy schedule, so this is a good rebound for him. It's okay, we're into a bit of a, we can do this. We've got this, right? So, he's not a good QB. I don't think he's a good QB. But I think 8 and 9 is perfectly reasonable for them. I don't think they can go any higher. Maybe they go 9 and 8. They would have to take a game off of the Cowboys or off of Philly, and I don't see that happening. And I can't say that in good faith.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but 9 and 8, 8 and 9 is that's where they should be, right there. They should be just behind the Cowboys, and the lack behind is the Giants. So, because I have no faith in the Giants. Said it earlier, 4-13.
You're just I'm not even going to discuss it. 4-13.
Nope. Daniel Jones, don't believe in him.
Get out of here.
See ya. See ya. You
Okay.
will have no football team next year. Sorry.
You will be
Jesus.
unemployed.
Yes.
Well,
So
hey,
what division you gonna burden us with next?
Well, quickly, I've heard that Daniel Jones is actually really good at cornhole. So if the football thing doesn't work out, he can go play in the
Cornhole Pro will
ACL.
catch him on ESPN
was-
Plus in the wintertime.
AC.
That's what McAfee said. He's like, I don't know if the cornhole's gonna help, but
That's
it's fun.
good stuff,
Yeah.
man.
Oh,
So-
funny that.
All right, I say we go from east to the west or west and talk about the NFC West. I don't think it's a hot take to say the Rams are definitely the cream of the crop in this division.
Got a hot take, man, and I got to get it off my chest because now I'm probably gonna get some controversy for
Everyone's
this.
gonna sit up. Everyone's gonna hold their controller and be like,
I feel like somehow, I'm gonna get some craziness. I gotta checking the depth chart as of today to make sure through the API call that this person made on their website that this is the most accurate information I'm getting. Before I make this take. But I'm just gonna say it, man. All right, I'm just gonna say it.
I wish you would.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to die on the sword if this doesn't work out. So the floor, this is the only team that I put a floor on. Out of all of the teams in the NFL, it's the only one I put a floor on.
Uh-huh.
And that is the San Francisco 49ers going 5-12.
That's your hot take for the division.
That's your hot take for this
That
division?
That is my hot take. Is that their floor is at 5-12 because I don't believe the 49ers can win a football game without Jimmy G.
With Trey Lance? What do you mean?
Get out of here. Get out of here. There's my door to my bedroom. There's a window. Go jump out of it. Good thing I'm on the first floor. It's not going to hurt.
Excessive. That's like a 4-foot drop. You can get a bruise or something like that.
You sprayed a shin.
So I guess,
dude,
so look, okay, we'll talk about the Niners first because that's where we're headed. I think that they go 8-9 and they slide into the playoffs. That's me, because I think that Trey Lance is going to be. I think first.
You and Griffin collaborate on y'all's.
We're copying each other's homework. I swear to God.
Yeah.
I
I've got them going 8-9 right now.
Y'all have been the same on everything.
I think.
Well, listen.
I think
you and Cody.
8-9,
Okay, not me and you. Okay, I was gonna say, dude, nobody else went in this deep end like me,
Cody
man.
and I can go through the schedules and see where we differ there, but
Right.
I really think that San Fran will go 8-9.
This is my issue though, because with them, right, I could see them somehow magically losing to the Bears in week 1, simply just because it's week 1. Okay? I don't see many people losing to the Seahawks. They're my second worst team in the league.
they're going to be pretty
The
bad.
Seahawks should be Geno Smith and Drew Lock.
You've got a
Which-
paper bag and a
Which evil
plastic
do
bag
you want?
trying to throw a football. It's
Which
bad,
evil do
right?
you want?
Yeah,
But
really.
realistically, I can't have the 49ers beating the Rams.
No.
The Rams sold their soul or something. I can't have them losing. Okay, Cooper Kupp still has ankles. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Dude's good. I could see a Carolina Panthers team still beat them, even with their whole quarterback situation going on, right? Especially if Baker's on a revenge season. I could see it, especially at week 5. I ain't even gonna get into Atlanta.
Them losing at Carolina.
I can't even talk about the Falcons.
I'm
Once we get there,
such a Baker homer, but I have.
You'll
San
know once we
Francisco
get there.
beating Carolina, just for the record.
It's progressive commercials.
then
He's gonna have to redo them all.
afterwards, after the Falcons, so what? I've got them losing 3 out of the first or 4 out of the first 6, and then after week 6, they played the Chiefs, the Rams, and the Chargers. How do I put the 49ers over them?
It's a rough stretch. I'm not gonna.
It's a rough stretch
sugarcoat
that
it.
just gets worse because then you play the Cardinals, then you play the Saints, then you play the Dolphins, then the Bucks.
I'm not envious of their schedule. I'm not trying to sit here and tell you that, but I think that
I can't see.
I think year one Trey is like at worst, he's a direct analog of Jimmy G.
Prove it. That is my challenge for the 49ers on giving this awesome take. And whenever it happens, y'all are going to be like, dude, this guy is a prophet. Because what my prediction is, they're going to sit there, they're going to lose these first games, they're going to get to their bye week and say, Jimmy G, we're so sorry, take us back, please, we want to win football games. And he's going to say, he's going to be sitting there with his, he's going to have his Stokely in his mouth, like.
He's going to be Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow on the couch.
You want me to come and win football games for you, huh? What are you going to give me? And they're going to say, dude, we'll give you the max contract extension. I'll give you my third wife. Because the owner's probably remarried like 6 times. I'll give you my third
Jimmy G is still going to be available. I'm just saying the Browns have a quarterback vacancy right now. There's some vacancy in quarterbacks that Jimmy G might be getting some calls but might not be available anymore.
I'm not gonna lie to you though. If I paid a dude $230-something mil, man, I don't have much money left over to give to anybody.
Well, okay.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm cheap. I don't even like spending $200.
There's probably something written into where it's like, oh, hey, if you get suspended and arrested potentially, because there's criminal charges that are still being filed that haven't been processed yet. Now, will they actually be acted upon? Who knows? I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a paralegal. I don't know any of that stuff. But if stuff comes out to where Watson's not able to play for an extended period of time, some of that money could free up. There's probably stuff written in there for the owner to get a lot of that money back and be able to go and play and go and pay him. So
you might be right. All I'm saying is, if Jimmy G's there halfway through the season, he's going to be sitting on his couch, smoking a cigar, drinking some nice wine with his woman, and they're going to ring-a-ding-ding him on the phone after they lose to the Chargers and say, Jimmy G, come save us. And he's going to say,
I got you.
With a big G on his chest. That is why they're the only team that I have with a floor, because I don't believe Mr. Lance has a Spitfire's chance of guiding this team.
You don't believe in Lance a lot. Look at you.
Ben, do you believe in Lance?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make it extended. Somebody else take the 4, please. It's getting a little hot in here because my take is just...
I believe a little more in San Francisco. I have them at 9-8. I actually have them taking a game pretty early. Off of the Rams. So that first matchup.
Yeah, early in the season. Week 4.
I don't have the Rams losing many games. That's one of them. There's something about San Francisco and the Rams that it shouldn't even be close. But San Francisco just plays the Rams really, really well every year. They've been, that's why I have them getting that game. I also have them beating Carolina. Atlanta's the freebie. Carolina's a bit harder, but I think they go and they beat Carolina. And then they don't have a particularly great schedule. It's pretty hard when you have you've got Rams, Chargers, Chiefs, all that back to back. Then you got Zona and New Orleans. I think. Let's see. I have them beating Arizona. 1 game there. Then I have them beating Miami. And then they get Seattle, Washington. I have them winning both of those. I have them losing to Vegas, which is kind of a big one. I think Vegas will actually be probably a pretty good team this year. And then
Eric Eyeliner.
They'll lose to but then they'll lose to Arizona, I think, in the last game. So I think they split. They'll split with the Rams and the Cardinals. So I have them just picking up a few wins. Other than that, they don't Seattle's 3 wins. I feel like Denver, they got a little stronger, but I'm still not sold on Denver yet. Don't know if Russ will turn it around for Denver, so I have them winning that game. I think Arizona had far better of a year last year than they're going to have this year, so it's going to be closer. But I still have San Francisco as that 3rd seed in NFC West, right behind Arizona, and I think they're probably they're looking at wild card probably. If they perform a little better, I think Travis can be the guy. He did okay last year. He didn't play great, but he did okay when he got his chance. I'm intrigued to see what happens when they fully commit to him, if he can step up, and if he can, be a pretty good team. I have a little bit of faith in Trey Lance.
Anybody else got hot takes on this one? Griff, what you got?
I've got Chicago, them losing first game of the season, then going to Seattle, or playing at home against Seattle. 3-game skid at losses, beating Atlanta. They're going to go on a 4-game losing streak against KC, the Rams, the Chargers, and Arizona. Then I have them turning it around and winning 5 in a row against New Orleans, Miami, Tampa Bay, Seattle, and Washington. I don't know why. It's just going to happen.
Okay.
And then
I think that might be a harder
hit.
take. That might be a harder hot take.
That is a harder take than mine, dude. That's a copium hit right there.
Dude,
that is a copium hit.
Those are 2 hard NFC South teams to beat. I mean, I can see them winning. I can picture them winning in Miami against Washington and Seattle. I can picture that pretty easily. I can also see them losing to Miami. But the New Orleans, they are New Orleans, Tampa Bay. Those are both at home, so it does help them. But I could see them doing one of those, but both of them, that's gonna be rough.
I just have a funny feeling that the quarterback situation is just going to click for just 5 games. Just 5 games, and that is it.
And they'll ride that momentum and possibly try to make a run at the playoffs and then just have their hopes dashed whenever they lose to Vegas and Arizona.
I mean, in the NFC, I have them ranked number 6.
At 7 and 10?
No, at 8 and 9.
Oh, at 8 and 9. Okay.
I don't disagree. I feel like 8 to 9 wins is going to be 2 or 3 of the wild cards. Like, the NFC is definitely the weaker half of the league, and it's been like that for a while. But I think this year is one of those years.
AFC is top heavy. That's all.
AFC is just top heavy. But I personally, like, as much as we've talked about Trey Lance, to me, I think the X factor is a happy and fully funded Debo, because I think the one thing that would completely derail a first-time starter quarterback-led team is your star Devo wide receiver just like pouts and doesn't want to play or doesn't play up to his potential because he's like, I'm trying to get the bag over here. So to me, I think that's like what made me sell it to myself and give them more wins than maybe they should win. It's just that they've kind of, other than the lingering Jimmy G thing, I feel like they've kind of covered all their bases, and they're like, okay, we've put this kid in the best situation that we possibly can. We let him sit behind Jimmy G and learn. We took all the hits and all the brunts in the media for drafting him in the first place. And now it's like, if we don't have enough confidence to put him in now, we'll never do it. To me, it kind of feels like the Taysom Hill experiment in New Orleans, where it's like, okay, well, it's at a certain point, if you don't even believe in him to put him in, then why did you do it? You know?
But we all acknowledge that the Taysom Hill experiment shouldn't have happened in the first place. They tried to turn somebody into a quarterback that is clearly not a quarterback. The dude is a running wrecking ball. Let him do exactly that. Yeah. Like, don't try to put him at quarterback. I know he has an arm. I know he can launch at 70 yards and make it look easy. That's not the issue. The issue is you can see when his brain is thinking.
He's like,
When
I'm
he's
gonna
ready
go
to
that
try to
guy.
figure out who he's going to throw it to. And that's the problem that you have with that. But
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. It's just, I don't know, man. I will start believing in Mr. Lance when I see it. The thing is that differs for me is that Jimmy G knows how to win game. I do not know if Mr. Lance knows how to win football games. You can be in the most comfortable position possible, but not every quarterback has that X factor that is going to let them win games.
Yeah.
And to me, he just hasn't shown it yet. If he shows it this season, cool. But I'm going to leave it there.
So, segueing into people that have shown it, let's talk about the defending champ Rams.
I haven't talked about them. They still sold their soul. Like, what do you want?
Still gonna win. They still sold their soul.
They're still going to win games, dude. You're going to see, I don't know, all kinds of dark clouds and little critters crawling out of the crevices in that
They
stadium.
sold their soul for the stadium and the win.
And the win, and they got it. You know,
They
thought
wanted that
they were
home.
done.
They wanted that home Super Bowl win so that they'll
Yeah.
forever be in the record books. Yeah.
Listen, when
They didn't lose anybody. They didn't lose anybody, and they added Bobby Wagner.
yeah, like
I don't
it's
know.
just-
I don't know how they're not expected to go on the same run. Like last year, their regular season, they lost a lot more games. Let's see, they were
They went 12-5. I have them at 11-6 this year.
low.
I wouldn't say low.
I have them
I
at
think
12 and 5.
4.
Yeah.
Like I'm at 13-4. They should. I don't trust them to win that many games, but they should win that many games. Let me put it that
I've
way.
got them.
Yeah.
I've got them at 11-6 because I believe they'll win games. But yeah, dog, it's got to be the selling the soul for me. That's the only justification I got for them losing 6. Either they are sacrificing goats in the basement to keep things together, or something. Because like literally all you've lost thus far is OBJ, and that's just because he like ripped a meniscus, right?
I think it's next year that they're gonna have to pay everybody, right? Like next year is when they run into cap hell.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think this is their last year to really put something together. I don't think that they.
I don't think they'll be
gonna
repeats. I don't think they'll be repeat champions.
It's just
if
super
they
hard to
do,
be repeat. I haven't even looked at my playoffs yet. I'll figure
Listen.
that out when I get there.
Yeah.
But like, it's hard to repeat. It's hard.
I don't see them
all I'm
repeating
saying is
either.
check the goat population in Los Angeles.
You know what?
If they make it back to the Super Bowl, that's all I'm saying. All of a sudden, you're gonna have a bunch of goats go missing, and it's not simply because they just decided to go wander off into the desert.
They're
That's all I'm
stacked
saying.
to the football gods.
I'm just saying, man. That's my take on the Rams. All right.
I mean,
Dude, they were so solid.
for
It
me,
sucks.
I'm kind of in the middle of you guys. Like I'm at 12 and 5, and really for me, that's just like I think they're gonna have some tough games. Like opening the season against Buffalo, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Like that's just a bummer. And they have a couple of other hard games like throughout their schedule. Like they've got Tampa, they've got Kansas City, both away games, which that really is a bad rip.
And New Orleans away too.
Yeah, so
And Green Bay away. Dude, what in the heck?
that's the selling the soul part coming to fruition.
Yeah, that's where the selling the soul part comes in. I have them losing to the Saints. I mean, technically, I have like most teams losing to the Saints. That's a little biased, little biased. Little copium hit, yeah. So, but yeah, no. I mean, there's not much to talk about, man. With the Rams, it's the Rams. Not even all of us have to talk about the Rams. They should be good.
I think we'll have
Griffin,
a lot
do you
more...
disagree? Wait, is this where Griffin has the hot take and he's like, "Yo, I think they're gonna go 1-16." Like,
Nah.
Nah, I've got the Rams going 12 and 5, and I also have them losing to the Saints. I do have them going on an 8-game winning streak at the beginning of the season. They're going to lose to Buffalo at the beginning, but then go on an 8-game winning streak. And here's an interesting stat that this little website gave me. They're playing 10 teams that are going to be in a losing situation under 500, and they're going to go 9-1 in those games. They're only playing 7 teams that are in a winning situation, but they're only going to go 3-4. And I don't see them winning it all this year, but I do see them being very successful off of the awful teams that they're playing.
Yeah,
Fair.
I mean their schedule is definitely not the worst schedule, but I do think they have a couple they have tough games, obviously.
Yeah.
Getting the first place schedule and playing a lot of those hard games on the road is one thing, but you do have you're going to have to play bad teams as the NFL. You're going to have weeks where you can just be like, all right, cool, let's roll out the third teamers and get this over with. I'm ready to go back home.
This could also be another hot take, but I do have them sweeping the division. I have them going 6-0 in the division.
That's pretty good. That's quite big.
That's really a hot take.
What
I
do
feel
you-
like
what do
that's
you
just
have 'em-
getting me right now.
What do
In
you
the
have them doing on
they're
the Monday?
10-12 or 10-2. My bad, 10-2.
What do you have them doing on the Monday night Green Bay game? Do they win that one? It's
What
at
week is
Lambeau.
that?
It's week 15, December 19th in Lambeau.
I've got them getting the dub. Stafford,
See,
Stafford,
that was
Stafford
one of my-
pulls
that was
together
one of
all
my
the boys
losses.
for one last
I
hurrah.
have them losing at Green Bay.
Yeah.
That's one of my losses, dude. You listen. There's a couple of things that
In
are just
December?
that are just like finite and never change, and that's trying to beat the Green Bay Packers in the winter
Hey, I don't know,
in
man.
Lambeau
Look,
Field, and you're from the hot part of the country where during the winter, your version of winter is it's 85 degrees outside.
They could
I don't have
probably
you winning that game.
to put into the facility.
hey,
They have enough
Stafford-
money to do it.
Stafford's played in Lambeau a lot, man.
Stafford's played and lost a lot at Lambeau. He's not doing that shit no more.
Played and lost. Don't forget the second half that
He's
you put
not
played
but
and
He's
lost.
turned
Now,
over
see,
a
but
new
not only that,
Hollywood
though.
rock.
Just to throw some heat into that real quick, LaFleur came out and said that Jordan Love was playing with the O-line starters. I mean,
Are you on
That's what
ayahuasca
I'm
right now?
That's all because Aaron Rodgers was eating psychedelic mushrooms and talking to his ancestors for a week. Okay,
Aaron
that's the only
Rodgers
reason
is
why.
That's because Aaron Rodgers
He's
is
still
so
dating that witch.
No, they broke up.
Like-
They were supposed to get married, but they split up.
Did they both figure out that each other was just kind of a little
She said
Everybody
he was
got a little
just
too high one night?
insanely controlling. Was her thing.
What? No
So
way. Is
Yeah,
that why he
what?
didn't get his COVID
What?
shot?
I guess, and still going to parties in LA or whatever.
They had the essential
Whatever
oils
it
and
was.
stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, look, not much we really have to talk about the Rams,
If
man.
I have indeed.
All right, who studied? Who studied?
I studied enough for 10 wins.
Who studied?
And wins what?
Talking about Arizona, clearly.
Arizona? Oh my god, dude!
I studied
listen.
enough for 10 wins.
10
That's it.
wins? I say
Dude,
9.
I studied enough for a ceiling of 8 and 9, dude. I got 8 wins. on the board.
9.
I got
So
8
we're all,
wins
like,
on the
right in
board,
the- in
9
that
losses.
middle.
Like, I'm gonna put
Yeah.
it like this, man. Kyler Murray, you got the bag. You threw your hissy fit at the start of the season, and then the team decided because you were posting on Twitter and removing them from all your Instagram and
yeah.
stuff like that. They decided they wanted to gut punch back, so they threw that little BS clause in there and then told the media about it on purpose. So then you had to say something, and then. After the fact, they're like, we completely believe in his ability to whatever. All that surrounding that media circus just has me thinking the Arizona Cardinals don't know what direction they want their football team to go. And it's also, can you keep this kid healthy who likes to run a lot? And can you keep him upright?
I'm gonna correct myself. I said 10-7, and then I forgot that D-Hop was suspended for the first 6 games of the season. They're probably closer to 8 wins. That's
Roll
I
it back.
completely forgot that he
Back
was.
up, back up,
I'll walk
back
that
up.
one back
Yeah.
because
Walk it
I was
back,
like, because you're gonna need D-Hop to beat.
boy.
You're gonna need D-Hop to beat that early schedule of Kansas City, Vegas, Los Angeles. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
that's a hard first 3 games with no D-Hop. That's
Exactly, because D-Hop is literally, I think he's somewhere down there. Throw it, and he catches it.
yeah.
That's
I
just
didn't
kinda how that
realize that he was not going to be present. So that's actually huge because, like, I mean, look, they got Marquise Brown and AJ Green, and you do have Zach Ertz to throw to, but like James Conner is a solid running back. You know, I don't think he's not a killer running back, but he's a solid one. He had that one really good year in Pittsburgh, and then he's been consistent since then.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, as long as you don't have to see Colt McCoy or Trace McSorley because he's on the Cardinals now.
Oh, nice.
You know, I think they can still win a few games. The D-Hop hurts them because of their strength of schedule in the early part of the season. And for that, I'm definitely going to have to take back. They might lose those first
got suspended for.
What did he get suspended for?
He beat somebody up or something.
PEDs.
Nice. PEDs it is. Well, that's unfortunate for him, but yeah, that's gonna crush the Cardinals. They could lose the first 5 because they've got Kansas City, Vegas, Rams, Carolina, and Philly. They could be an 0-5, and at that point, I think you start roping in the season pretty early because your strength of schedule is there. Like, I mean, the NFC West it's between the West and the South. They have some of the hardest schedules in football just because of who they have to play.
Some of the best teams in football.
Well, because the NFC West matches up with the AFC West, and the NFC South matches up with the AFC North, I think. And so that's
Something
just like
that.
Yeah.
I think it's that.
Yeah. So like that's hard.
That's hard.
Those
road.
are hard
Yeah.
schedules. Like you're not going to come out of that unscathed, and if you don't have arguably your best offensive player, I think he probably is by most people's opinions. That's going to make your life difficult to win those early games. So I think they can still win a lot of games. You know, they didn't win 11 games last season off of just pure luck. I mean, they played good football, and they even fell off at the end of the season. So, I mean, we saw the potential that they have to win a lot of
They
games.
even still got some wins when Kyler was out, when he was hurt.
Yep.
So, like, it's there. The talent is there. The only issue is that I don't think the Arizona Cardinals know what direction they want to take their football team. Especially considering that, like, at the end of the season, nobody even knew Kyler was going to be on the team or not. And pretty much the entire... I mean, that too. But, like, you know, you're sitting there and you're like, okay, hey, you know, we're going to try to negotiate this contract extension with Kyler because he's throwing a hissy fit about it, basically saying, hey, you either give me a contract extension or trade me, right? And they're like, okay, let's poke around the market, see what we can get. You know, a couple of name rumors came up here and there on who they were going to take and yada, yada, yada. So then they ended up, like, taking none of them. And then they're like, oh, yeah, we signed Kyler to this extension of, like, how much was it? It was like, it was in the 200s, wasn't it?
He got 230.5 because his contract was after Deshaun, so he's like, I want more than Deshaun. He was the only guy that had a contract extension after that. But obviously, you know, down the road you're gonna have like Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Lamar. They're all gonna get way more than that. But anyway.
Lamar needs to have a good year if he's going to get that. That's all I'm saying.
That's a fair point. But he is still in line, is all I'm saying.
He's on pace.
Yeah.
He's on pace. But yeah, Cardinals, meh, they'll be okay.
Just a meh.
They'll be okay. Middle of the road.
Yeah.
They could be a playoff contender, maybe. They just have to play well.
Yeah.
If they outperform, they have to win some of those first 5 games. If they win a couple of those, they could be a playoff team. If not, it's going to be an uphill battle.
See, and when I wrote my schedule and I gave them 9 and 8, I gave them a bunch of wins in the early part and not as many in the back half. But maybe that would, you know, hopefully somewhere in that they just flip those and the record is still right, but the games will probably not match up. Just I didn't know about the D-Hop thing, so don't at me.
Yeah.
I
literally looked at the depth chart just now.
At him.
Don't
at
at me.
him. Comments, please.
All right, dumpster fire Seattle
Oh my
anybody
god, dude! You just said my trigger word. Okay.
Gino.
No G.
Listen,
I'm
man.
at a
The Seattle
solid-
Seahawks.
I'm at a
I don't care if you got Tyler Lock.
Solid.
I don't care if you got Tyler
14.
Lock. I don't care if you re-sign DK. I don't care.
Who you gonna throw?
I'm sorry.
Who's
Who's
throwing?
throwing it?
I don't
The same
care.
joke that people say against Winston, like we forget that he had like a 4,000 passing yard season and had like 50 touchdowns and 50 interceptions or whatever the stat was, right? But in this situation, who you really gonna have throwing the football to these players? Like, let's be honest.
Jimmy G.
Who's gonna stop it?
Yeah,
Stop
that would be something.
That'd
would
be a phone call. I would want to be a fly on the wall
that
for
would
that
be
phone
the
call.
move of the season.
If
Right
that
there.
happens
So,
if that happens between now and the start of the season, we're just scrapping this whole thing, or we're just putting a little edit in here of a WTF. Okay, everything is screwed.
Yeah.
So just a preface. If that happens, this is before the Jimmy G trade.
Yeah.
Because I think
we were
he's going
here first.
He's going somewhere else. I think before the season's over, like before the season starts, I think he's going somewhere else.
I think so too.
So yeah, this is before.
Look, I'm gonna put it like this. As of right now, the ceiling that I have for the Seattle Seahawks because of their QB situation, I've got them at 4-13.
Yep.
If I'm being honest, 4-13.
I'm at 3-14. I can't argue with you.
14.
That's a
Griff,
that's
how
a safe
much you
bet
got?
for me.
I have them limping their way to 6 wins.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Let's
Okay.
hear. Let's hear about it.
Who are your 6 wins?
Who are your 6?
Yeah, I gotta hear this, man.
No one in the division, I can tell you that. They are getting swept in the division.
That's a fair
But
point.
let me try to go through it.
Oh, I can't say that. I gave them a win against San Fran. I have them splitting with San Fran just to shock the world.
Okay, I'm assuming you're giving the Falcons, which is week 3. You're giving them a win there.
I'm actually giving them Denver
Okay.
first week.
I can
And
see
then
it.
Atlanta,
I can see
Detroit, New York.
Yep.
I have them beating the Raiders, and then I also have them beating Carolina.
Oh,
Do you
son.
have them losing to the Jets?
Yes.
I do
Interesting.
as well. I do as
Okay.
well. Like that.
I
That's a new level of bad, but that's
Yeah,
what you get for
they're-
going 3-14.
Their 3 that I've given them, let's see. I gave them the Falcons. Let's see.
I think we can go ahead and everybody can already talk about.
Yeah.
We gave it to the Falcons.
Oh, I might have
We-
given them the Raiders too. No, I gave them the Giants, the Falcons, and the Jets. That's it. So, like, in my opinion, those are some of the worst teams in football. So, like, and maybe the Jets will be a little better. They definitely have they're definitely the favorite team in New York this year off of their QB. But I don't know. Seattle's they're gonna be bad. Their defense is not what it,
I gave them the Raiders game because they're coming off of a bye. That's the only reason, and I think that they can just sneak an upset in there. I really do.
and Vegas could. Vegas is
More faith than I do, my man.
Vegas is a question mark team for me.
I mean,
feel
you know
like
there are going to be upsets. Like, you know that there are.
yeah. There's and
There are going to be games that it happens every year.
The 3 wins that I gave them were the Giants, Carolina, and I gave them a San Fran win. I do
Atlanta?
Nope.
Nope. The
I
Seattle.
gave for Seattle, but I don't think that they beat Atlanta.
You didn't give them Atlanta?
No. I trust Marcus Mariota twice as much as I trust either of those guys. I trust
What?
Marcus Mariota to come in and be an adult and actually like pull something together. Okay, hot take. Kyle Pitts has at least 2 touchdowns. At least
A
2
hot
touchdowns.
take. That's almost a
Oh my
given.
god.
What? Dude's
Well, he-
like 6'6", man.
He had
Like, I
one
can throw it up to
touchdown
him,
last
but
season.
Did he really?
One,
Yes.
and it was in
He's-
London. It was in London, so
he's-
he did not score a touchdown in America last season.
Yeah, so if you think that Matt Ryan's going to do real well in the Colts, you might want to look back at that and say, how many How did Kyle Pitts have last season?
1.
Look,
That's a
man.
that's a
All right.
that's a preview for when we get to Atlanta. But no, I
hot
think
take.
that
Boy,
Atlanta
listen.
will be good enough to beat Seattle. I think Seattle is like one of those doormat, like racing to the number 1 pick kind of teams. So I just have zero. Like I honestly, I feel like this is the kind of stuff that gets Pete Carroll. Finally, someone's going to tell him that he needs to hang up the white sneakers and he just needs to go home. Because I think that Seattle fans are going to be tired of his like antics and tired of not being super competitive without Russ. And now that Russ will be, in my opinion, Russ is going to do really well with the Broncos, and he's going to show everybody that like it was definitely him, not Pete.
I don't know how many backups are on people's rosters that could outperform Geno Smith and Drew Lock. But there's got to be at least like 7 or 8. Like just backup QBs that are better.
Eddie,
than that.
2 gloves, man. What do you mean?
Nobody will ever give Teddy Two Gloves a chance to like fully run that whole team. He's actually good.
I mean, I really think, honestly, if I had to put money on where Jimmy G is going to go before the season starts, it would be Seattle.
I don't think he'll go in division.
I think if San Francisco doesn't give him to Seattle, then they are trying to tell you that they are still hedging their bets on Trey Lance, personally, because if you think that Trey Lance is the dude, then who cares who Seattle has? But yeah,
No, but if you know Jimmy G,
but
you
it's
can make that
just,
team a
but
lot
it's just
better and you play him
business smart.
twice. Yeah, you play him twice. If you know Jimmy G could make that team a lot better, like get him in the AFC. Go get him in the AFC somewhere. Where you
Yeah,
don't
like
have to
think
play him
about it like
year.
this, bro. They went 10-7 last year with Jimmy G at the helm. 10-7. He made Mr. Kittle look like single-handedly the best tight end in the NFL.
I think
like-
he was for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part, yes. Like he was the number 1 tight end, and that was because Jimmy G could find him in a supermarket, like
Hey, 'cause-
Costco.
Well, he learned from Tom Brady. When in doubt, throw it to the tight end.
Throw to Gronk.
I mean, yes,
It's not that
exactly.
hard.
But he doesn't have Gronk this year. That's a different story.
Right.
But we'll save that for later.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I don't think the San Francisco 49ers say, "Hey, Seattle, we got a guy."
I mean, they're not trying to
don't
give
want
him
him
away.
anymore.
They're not trying to give him away. I'm not trying to say that, but I definitely think that there's going to be a phone call.
I don't think there's going to be a phone call because I don't think they give him. I think they'd send him to the AFC or to a completely different division, like
I think
not
they
in the
still
same one.
suck. It doesn't matter who they get.
Seattle's just a mess.
Well, I don't know. I think if Seattle gets Jimmy G, I think it looks a lot different.
Yeah,
I think it looks
there's no
significantly
guarantees.
different.
So like they're gonna be they're a top 10 pick next year in the draft. I think they still have their first round. So if they do, then they're top 10 pick in the draft for sure.
Yeah, was that one of the picks that they gave away to get Jamal? I would hope not, because they're really going to
Seattle
be
have a
terrible.
first round?
They're going to be
Let's
really bad. So I would hope that they still have at least one. I mean, sometimes these bad teams end up with 2 or 3, but they have to have at least one, or else sucking this bad is going to really. It's going to feel even worse when you are like, oh, we're pick 11 or, 27 off of a trade or whatever. Pick swap or slide into the NFC North. Obviously, this is a one-horse race kind of division. Green Bay, you just pencil them in to win it every year, and then you just start deciding on by how much. This year, where am I? This year, I've got Green Bay at a solid 11-6. I think they take a little bit of a step back in the grand scheme of things, but obviously 11-6 is still going to be leagues ahead of the rest of this division. For me, I feel like this is probably the year where you start to see that decline of Aaron Rodgers, not in terms of his overall talent, but just in his overall tolerance amongst his own team. Devontae won't be there to catch everything that's thrown to him. I think Matt LaFleur is completely out on him. Even if he's not completely sold into Jordan Love, I think he's going to try to start convincing himself that that's going to work. And so, to me, if they had Devontae, I would give them 13-4 in a heartbeat. But I think that's such a big loss just in terms of how they were winning games and how they were competitive last year. Like, I think that's the big step back, but it's still going to be plenty enough to win the division, which is not a super hot take.
I mean, hey, man, what can I say? It's the NFC North, you know what I'm saying? It's the Green Bay Packers. Yeah, it's the Green Bay Packers. Dude, it's Aaron Rodgers. That's the tweet. He should win this division with his eyes blindfolded like a ninja assassin at night. Like, it should just be over. There's no chance any other team wins this division, in my opinion. Okay, it might be close. You know, you might have a little antsy here and there, like somebody winning a couple of games they probably shouldn't. But hey, I think it's close. My ceiling for them, going along with Cody, is 11-6. Ain't nothing too special. It's the Green Bay Packers, man. Aaron Rodgers finds people to throw to. He's had one wide receiver for the last, 10 years. He finds somebody to throw it to. So, I've got them 11-6. I think one of the biggest things I'm always going to say, it's hard to beat the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. Period. Simply because it gets too damn cold in Wisconsin. Period. No, you don't need to extend these sentences. Griffin, I see you over there shaking your head and stuff. I ain't going to say the bad words. But I'm just telling you how it is. Alright? I used, when I was in Louisiana, I lived at home with a Green Bay Packers fan. And there's a lot of games I'm like, man, the Green Bay Packers ain't going to win this game, man. This person's hurt. That person's hurt. They got a delivery guy over there. Apparently the delivery men in Wisconsin are built different because nothing shuts down when it snows.
They're called
because they can catch
linemen.
footballs.
They're called offensive linemen. And
yeah, those two. Yeah, those two. But it's the Green Bay Packers, man. I've got them at 11-6. You might differ with me. It's okay. And you're with me and Cody. You can be wrong, but, it's fine. So please, go ahead with your shaking of your head. Please tell us your take, sir. If it's anything less than 9, I'm actually going to think you're a crazy man.
Good, because I have them at 8 and 9.
8 and 9.
So you have them not winning the division.
No, I don't have them winning the division. I have someone else. And you're going to think that the other team is something insane.
You're about to say Minnesota's going to win the division.
Don't you say what I think you're going to say. I'm walking. I'm pacing around here. Don't you say it.
This is my biggest take. This is my biggest take.
Okay.
Of the entire series, I think. I think that Chicago is going to win it.
Okay.
I think that Chicago is going to take.
I can come to terms with that.
What do you have Chicago at? Do they win it by a game? Do they win it by 2 games? Because if it's a tight margin, if you tell me that it's a tight margin,
you win it by 2 games, they are at 10-7.
See, I also have Chicago at 10-7, but I have Green Bay at 14-3.
Cool, dang.
I have Green Bay playing. Okay, look. I have Green Bay winning a lot of freaking games because I look at their schedule. I have them losing to Tampa.
Yeah.
I have them losing to Buffalo.
Yeah.
I have them losing to the Rams. That's
the Saints. You don't have them losing to the Saints? Come on, man. They lose to the Saints.
They
get these dubs.
They're not playing the Saints, DJ.
I'm joking, man.
But,
they always end up somehow playing the Saints for the last 5 years.
The one that I think they could lose is New England. So I think they could be 13-4. But I think Justin Fields is going to have to play some good football.
That's all I'm saying, man. You trust Justin Fields to beat Justin Fields and company.
Let me rephrase that.
Aaron Rodgers.
Let me rephrase that.
Discount double check.
Matt Nagy is going to have to not screw up them winning the game for them to beat Aaron Rodgers, okay?
Well, see,
that's why I have a little less faith in Chicago.
Matt Nagy's not the coach, so...
Is he not? What is he?
It's
No,
Matt,
it's Matt
Eberflus.
Eberflus.
Eberflus, whatever.
What is Nagy? Is he gone now? Did he
Yeah,
get
he's deposed.
good?
He's deposed.
I think there's still remnants of him in that.
The ghost of Nagy's
The
past.
ghost of Nagy is gonna screw that up. I mean, I have Chicago at 10-7, but I just don't think that they beat the Packers. I think the Packers.
Listen,
I've got them
Packers
at
too good.
I've got them at 9-8.
That's solid still. We're in the same ballpark on with our big difference is the Packers here. Like for me and Griffin, it's night and day.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
see how. Look, I get it, right?
Who do you think
doesn't-
here? Hang on.
he doesn't-
for me
he
to
doesn't-
explain myself.
Yeah, who do you have them
Okay,
losing
so-
to that's like big?
Okay, so I'm going to walk you through the schedule. I think that they're going to really struggle in the first half of the season. I really do. I really think that Aaron is going to have to be like, okay, I have to find someone else to throw to besides the man who just left and went to Las Vegas. So, and I know Aaron Rodgers is that guy. I understand that he is, but Green Bay, for some reason, when I think of them, they struggle at the beginning of the season, and then they just turn it around at the end. They just figure something out. So I have them beating Minnesota and then going on a 4-game skid, and then beating the Jets, then losing to Washington and Buffalo, both away, beating Detroit. Then I have them losing to the Cowboys and the Titans. That was tough for me. I have them losing that. And then
Man, whatever water you got going through the pipes over there, brother, come share some in Tennessee. Cause man,
Hey, he said this was gonna be his
Hey,
hottest,
this
his
the hot
hottest
take.
take.
this is the hot,
Boy.
like I'm telling you, this whole division is the hottest take that I will have the entire time.
my lord, you have got some.
Hey,
You've got some heat, my
hey,
man.
Hey,
You have got some heat.
I'm gonna let Griffin finish his hot take, but then I'll give you mine. So
Is it worse?
it's not
has
worse,
to
but
be.
it's definitely different. It's definitely different.
He's got Chicago not being number 2.
So
But then they're going to go to Philly, beat them, Chicago on the road because Aaron Rodgers owns the city of Chicago, and then they're going to go and beat the Rams. They're going to lose at Miami, and then they're going to win out against Minnesota and Detroit.
Jeez. There's a lot of games that that's a lot of games for Aaron. I'm gonna go back and just take a look and see
the
where
last
they've ended
time they've
years.
had that many losses. It's probably been a minute.
Oh, it's been a second.
Man, listen, you're
that
trying to
would have
make
been
my.
the 2018 year. I don't know what
You-
happened in 2018, but they only won 6 games that year. But other than that, I mean,
They've been double-digit
You-
wins.
You're
pretty
making my
much.
teams to
In the last
beat
4
this look
the
like
last 4
some
years.
crazy stuff, man. You're telling me the Bucks, the Rams, the Saints, and the Packers aren't the team to beat in the NFC? Something's wrong. Like, I just don't see how you're putting Chicago in the big leagues, man. Look,
In the last 10
I
years,
view-
they've only had 2 losing seasons at Green Bay.
I
So it's
view
hard to fight them.
I view Justin Fields on the same level as Mr. Murray, which is like a Lamar Jackson Dollar General copy. That's it. I went to Kinko's, put Lamar on the little scanner to make a copy, and they ran out of toner. That's what I got with Justin Fields and Kyler Murray. They're copies. They're wannabes. They're try-hards. They trying real hard.
They're
But,
just not Lamar
man,
Jackson.
you can't listen, man. All right, listen. I respected you for some of your previous takes. I'm not saying I disrespect you now. Please don't get that twisted.
Exactly
okay?
what he said.
That's
No.
Clip
That's not
it,
what I said.
clip
That's
it.
not what I said. Okay.
He said
But-
square up.
But listen, I understand that Devontae is gone. Okay, he's gone. He's gone. It's fine. We have a little separation anxiety, you know what I'm saying, here and there.
Fine, but
He's gone.
We'll make the best
But
of it.
they still have Alan Lazard. They've got
Lazard
Sammy Watkins.
for
And they got
3
Randall
weeks
Cobb.
before he dies.
He's got people to throw the ball to.
Randall Corn
And
on the
what-
couch.
We're not gonna act like just because he's gone, he can't throw the ball to anybody.
Honestly,
He's got three people he can throw the ball
honestly, I feel like
That's fair. That's fair.
I feel like you didn't name the one person that's actually going to get the ball a ton this
Which is
year.
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is
Aaron
going to be
Jones.
literally the Alvin Kamara of like 2 years ago, and he is going to get so many passes out of the backfield. It's not even funny.
Yeah, they're gonna
Like,
be
so-
run.
I respect your take,
Runs and bubble screens out the
but
yin
like
yang.
the Packers still look good to me. And I can't. History has told me otherwise. You don't bet against the Green Bay Packers because they'll at least take your money. They might not win, but they'll take your money.
I went back and looked, and it was
We'll bet against them in the playoffs at least.
Yeah, that's
fair
what I
point.
mean.
That's
That's
fair
what I
point.
mean.
Oh.
You bet against them the entire season, you'll lose. You bet in the playoffs, you'll actually like
win.
keep your money
Yeah,
and maybe make a profit.
I actually have them at the 7 seed
So you have
in the
them
NFC.
playoffs.
Yeah, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah,
They squeaking by? Oh, absolutely. They're tied with San Fran and Minnesota and Arizona, but they just have just enough to get into at number 7.
Got a little heat
My-
on him, boy.
my thing-
you
my
turned a
thing is-
little red over there, Griffin.
I just looked at just past. I went all the way through. Rodgers been playing starting since 2008. He's only had 3 seasons where he didn't win more than 8 games.
That doesn't mean he can't
That doesn't
not
mean he can't.
win 8 games.
It doesn't mean he can't. But in the last 4, he's won at least 12. So
Well, and
now
he's had
And-
number 1 seeds in NFC Championship games at home, and again, just not going to get you anything.
which
But
I
that's
think
not what
he
we're
should
talking about
definitely
yet.
better in the playoffs. However,
Yeah.
he wins. He's been winning games. Let's say they were 13-3 in 2019. They were 13-3 in 2020, and they were 13-4 in 2021. I gave him a little extra and went 14-3, but they could
14-3.
easily be a 13-4.
Just whip it out real quick.
So,
But I got to talk about in the NFC. I've had some teams to watch this season. Okay, I've broken it down by teams to beat and teams to watch. One of my teams to watch this year, not even capping, the Detroit Lions.
Let's go, DJ. Let's go.
Listen,
Let's go,
listen,
bud. Let's
listen.
go. Let's talk
I know
about
they
it.
went 3-13 last year.
And 1. Don't short them.
tied.
No, it
The
was
tie.
3-13
3-13-1.
And 1.
and 1. 3-13 and 1 and 1, whatever. Ceiling for this team this year, 8-9.
I wasn't gonna
Team
go.
to watch.
I wasn't gonna go that high, DJ. But I'm at 7-10.
I will put
I'm
them
at 7-10.
ceiling 8-9. That means it can be worse. But ceiling 8-9. It's
I'm a-
okay. You can come for me.
I'm
I'm
riding the
for
hype
you
train.
with the Chicago take,
See-
but I'm on the Lion train,
DJ,
baby.
I have a question.
Choo-choo.
I have a question, DJ.
You have a question for the
DJ.
Detroit
Yes,
Lions
yes.
teams?
Where did they improve to pick up 4 wins? I'm sorry,
Where did they
no.
improve?
5 wins.
Okay.
Where did they
okay.
improve that drastically to get 5
Hear
wins?
me out. Hear me out. Hear me out.
I'm
Okay.
listening.
Okay.
What'd they do?
I think offensively, you've got some weapons, especially once a particular one of them is all the way 100% healthy, and Jameson Williams. I think he's an excellent wide receiver. He's exactly something that a quarterback like Jared Goff is going to need, which is a deep threat. DJ Chark is literally nothing to scoff at, and DeAndre Swift is not the worst thing ever.
And he's
I
not
think
dead.
I think that this team, since last year, considering that not a lot really changed for them, other than kind of adding to their wide receiver core with DJ Chark, and also getting having it's like
Amon Ross St.
Amon
Brown.
Ross St.
St. Brown, right, which is fine, right? But I think the biggest thing, the most significant thing, is that this team has now had a year of playing with each other, right? They haven't had that many changes, other than I'm pretty sure they changed a couple of things on like the coaching staff, if I remember correctly. But I think now they'll actually be able to string some games. I'm not that, like I said, all of these scenarios, there's only one team that I've talked about their floor. This team, I'm talking about a ceiling, a best possible outcome. I think the Detroit Lions can stumble around and win some football games. I'm not saying they're playoff potential. I'm saying they can win some football games. Okay? So you don't have to look at me like I'm the great crazy prophet. All I'm saying is, at the end of the season, if the Detroit Lions are 8-9 and y'all say, dude, how did you know they were going to be 8-9? I'm going to tell you, I could see into the future. Or I got the little book from Back to the Future 2, where I need to go to Las Vegas and start gambling.
True.
See, I will piggyback the hot take, D, because I think they're 7-10 myself, and I think you didn't mention the reason for me, and that's Aiden Hutchinson. I think this dude comes in like guns blazing, and also because Detroit is feeding on a bottom level schedule again, I think they pick up a couple wins against teams that are just, they don't have an identity. I feel like the Lions have they've got it together where they've got so many high first round picks on defense that eventually they're going to string it together. And that's just...
And it's okay, Ben. I will eat the sword.
Yeah,
I will eat it at the end of the season.
I'm okay with being dead wrong. Yeah.
If I'm dead wrong, I will admit, hey, guys, next year, tell me not to go into Cody's podcast and be an idiot and say the Detroit Lions are going to be a good football team.
I'm just trying to fathom.
As of right now,
7 or 8
I will
wins.
have them at a ceiling of 8-9. I think they can potentially stumble to 8 wins. Potentially. Not saying they will get there. That means everything else, 7 and below, is still achievable.
I don't know.
But I can see them getting to 8 wins. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know what Griffin has. I have
don't know. That man got up, started
I have
walking.
them at 4-13, and I kind of gave them some wins where I was like, I'll just give them that win, you know? So, like, I don't feel comfortable with 4 wins. So I can't fathom at this point 7 or 8.
Double that.
You know, like, they're just, like, look, DeAndre Swift, he's had 2 years in the league. He's kind of been injury bug a little bit. You know, his legs hadn't been too healthy. But he only put up 600 rushing yards. And admittedly, the team that he's had around him hadn't been the best. You know, he was through 2 separate quarterbacks, and which changes how you're going to play things. But I don't think that I think they are, what they've done in the offseason is a point in the right direction, which is why I think they can get to 4, because last season I think I had them at like 2. So, you know, 4 wins this season, if you think about it, that's a double. That's pretty solid.
Okay,
can't believe they... No. I want to hear what Griffin has to say first, but...
Okay.
Maybe
and I'll give my justification. Okay, all right, going ahead, Griffin. Give me your take, so then I can try to defend my point, okay? And I'll tell you where I believe, okay? So go ahead.
In the heart of the cards.
In the heart of the cards. Go ahead.
Okay, so I don't know what I'm missing here. First of all, I'm clearly missing something because I have them at 2-15. 2-15. I really do. I don't know where the 8 wins comes in. But the thing is, when they're losing probably 80% of these games, it's very, very close. I don't think they have enough to be like, like Cody said, I don't think there's an identity with the team whatsoever, and I don't think they're going to find it at all this season. And it's just going to be, it's not going to be an absolute shit show. It's just going to be like, Detroit fans are going to be going in, they're going to be watching an amazing-ass game, and then they're going to lose, like, on the last drive for, like, probably 8 games. And it's going to be like the saddest thing.
You can't have shit in Detroit, including W's, man. The only W's I gave him was Seattle, New York, and Jacksonville. That's it.
Listen. These are the games that I have them stumbling to wins, okay? These are the games. I've got them beating Washington, because I literally think a wet paper noodle can beat Washington.
I think so too.
And you're gonna call cap on this, but history has shown you don't know what Vikings team you're gonna get. You're gonna get
the Vikings week 14.
You're gonna get a, we can win this, like we can look like we can go for a championship Vikings, and a Kirk Cousins of that level, and then you're going to get like we were the Jacksonville Jaguars last season kind of Vikings. So I actually gave them the benefit of doubt. That's a little stumble into the win. I think it'll be close. It can go either way. Coin flip. You flip a coin and you got a better chance of predicting that game. In my opinion, I think I have them beating the Seahawks, because I literally think everybody can beat the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks have now taken their place last year as the laughingstock team for how horrendously bad they're going to play, because their 2 quarterbacks are literally nothing and nothing, which equals nothing. So you're just in a bad situation. I have them beating the Cowboys because, good Lord, I don't think Dallas is that good. You can call cap on me. You can call cap on me.
Ben had to take the headset off. He's like, I can't do this.
Listen, man. I have them potentially beating the Bears.
I know we don't like the Cowboys here, but good Lord.
The Cowboys will never get any sympathy from me. Neither will the Falcons. I have them potentially being able to beat the Bears, potentially, because I don't trust Justin Fields. He can also get hurt by the time we get to week 10. So then if they're playing with, who's their backup on Chicago? It's Trevor Siemian. It's literally New Orleans Saints, Trevor Siemian.
Easy.
I have a Detroit Lions team beating Trevor Siemian if he's hurt by that point. Okay, cool.
Nathan
right?
Peterman.
Then I have them beating the Giants because I think a wet paper noodle can beat the Giants, and I still don't think Jacksonville is that good. So I think you can still beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I think you can beat the Jets. That's 8 games. That's 8 games. The games that I am giving them as potential games to win are not like they are against teams that are like, there is no way. It's not like I'm saying they're going to beat the Green Bay Packers in week 18. Okay? Nobody is saying that. I'm not saying that they're going to beat the Buffalo Bills in week 12. I'm not saying they're not going to I'm not going to say they're beating the Green Bay Packers in week 9. No. Absolutely not. But do I think that they can stumble into some wins, especially against a team like Dallas? Yes. Absolutely. That's why I'm giving them a ceiling of 8 games with potentially losing more.
I think this is the furthest that we differed on one that I thought we were all going to be on the same page on.
Not on the same page, dude.
See, but also
I'm ready to be proven wrong by the Lions. I'm ready to be proven wrong that they're going to get to at least 4 games or maybe even 6 wins. I don't care. I'm ready to be proven wrong, but I just like you said, against Washington and against the Vikings, you never know what version of Kirk Cousins you're going to get that week, which is why I have them struggling most of the season, because the only real playmaker that they have is their 2 receivers, it seems like, and then Dalvin Cook. But when you have a quarterback that is just going to misfire, it's every single throw. It's like if anyone knows Zach Mettenberger from LSU, that's who he reminds me of. But like, I'll tell you, the Vikings in week 3, I have that as a close loss. I have the Patriots as a close loss. I have the Giants close loss. I have the Chicago Bears week 17 as a close loss. I have the Carolina Panthers week 16 close loss. But they're just not good enough to win those games, in my opinion, right now.
Look, I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying that if they can even pull together 6 wins this season, you owe me a firm handshake. That's all I'm saying. Because I was here first. If they get
do that, I want to be proven wrong.
Listen, if they get all 8, if they go 8-9 by the end of the season, you owe me like a drink or something.
I can't.
That's all I'm saying.
Even I can't co-sign that. I cannot co-sign that.
Yeah, that one's tough. Look,
7-10. It felt really good, and to me,
okay. Like I said, I have no problem eating this sword at the end of the season. Call it the hype train, call it the, whatever you want to call it. I honestly believe the Detroit Lions can stumble upon 8 wins. Potentially. Potentially. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I said potentially.
I figured out DJ's analysis.
I'm just not sold. You are sold on the hype train. I'm just not yet.
I figured out DJ's analysis here. He has to have like a 12 seed go to the Final Four in every March Madness bracket that he makes. He believes in the bottom tier team. He's like,
I'm gonna lift
look,
you up.
I want a 13 and a 12 seed in the championship. All right, that's who's going. That's the type of belief that I've got right now with your opinion there. But
I'm not saying they're gonna make the playoffs.
That makes
I'm just saying.
That's what I was going to get at. This is definitely a dead-end hot take because even the highest
it does not lead to the playoffs. Now, if all of a sudden the Lions have strung together somehow 12 games in the season,
you're about to talk yourself.
Then we're all just wrong.
Detroit will burn down more than it does on a daily basis if they go to the playoffs. Detroit will literally burn down. True.
Lord.
But hey, I guess this is a good segue into talking about the Vikings.
Nobody
cares.
Okay,
Jesus Christ.
Nobody cares about the Vikings whatsoever.
Nobody cares. 6 wins, 7 wins, maybe. Who cares?
Honestly, because of the whole hot and cold nature, I just gave a nice ceiling of a 9-8. Because I just don't know how Kirk Cousins is going to play.
That's their absolute best. That's what I'm thinking.
That's their pinnacle.
That's what I'm saying. It's
I gave it
9-8.
Yep.
It's either or. It's your absolute best is either 8 or 9 wins, and that's it. That's all I can see. Because Kirk Cousins, to me, is the weakest link, and your weakest link can't necessarily be your quarterback.
I believe them in a 7-win season. They are, to me, they're probably a 3rd place in the division. Maybe Detroit surprises, but I don't think Chicago fails enough to even if Fields has an awful year. I still don't know if Minnesota ends up being a 2nd seed. I don't think they get out division. I don't think that they're going to be a fantastic team. They're not much different from what they were last year, honestly, in my opinion. I think they most of their key pieces are still the same. So they didn't.
If I remember correctly, they haven't really. I don't think they've changed much, have they?
I'm trying to see.
I actually don't think they have.
There was nothing big over the offseason that I heard about.
They swapped out their coach. Now their coach is Kevin O'Connell, which is more of an offensive guy, as opposed to Mike Zimmer, who didn't like Kirk Cousins and definitely did not give a crap about the offense.
No,
for me, I had Green Bay at the top, and then the other 3 teams just stack up at 7 and 10. For me, I have for me, I'm highballing Detroit. I'm kind of middle of the roading on Chicago, and then Minnesota. I think this is the last year that they'll be 7-10, and I honestly think that, I think that this is the last season that they'll have where they're like middle of the road competitive, and then I think they're either going to tell Kirk Cousins to get out of here, or they're gonna like completely overhaul the team around. Like they'll keep Kirk Cousins and get rid of a bunch of other people, but like they cannot keep rolling out the exact same team and hoping to get something remotely close to results. Like honestly, if I was Minnesota, I would much rather have Jimmy G. I know we've brought him up a lot, but I would so much rather have Jimmy G with all these pieces to throw to, and like Dalvin Cook out of the backfield to help you out. Like I'd so much rather be in that situation with Jimmy G than with Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins is like just the most like accountant level.
I'm gonna put it like this with the Vikings. Heaven forbid, if Justin Jefferson gets hurt, the Vikings season looks like this. Like it
looks
that
like
kid
old stadium
was the sole piece behind some just truly incredible wins. Like
making a lot of games,
making incredible catches that even I was like, man, if we had him on the Saints right now,
that shouldn't be possible.
Like it made me sit there and go, that kid's pretty good. Like I was like, maybe he wasn't going to be that good when he gets to the league. He's pretty good.
You almost think the AFC East is just dog, because I don't know how the NFC North can have that many wins with the record y'all are giving them.
Look, like I said, all of my
we'll talk about that.
Are
but
in,
yes,
are in ceilings,
I think
not
you're
floors,
onto something
and
there,
not
Ben.
actual. Like what I believe they will end up at the end of the year, because to me it's way too difficult with so many teams, and so you have no clue how these teams are going to look out the gate in the middle of the season, at the end of the season. Sometimes you figure it out, sometimes things break down, people get hurt, etc., etc. Yeah, like so you can't predict accurately where a team is going to finish by the end of the season. It's a lot easier just to go in, this is what I potentially think they will be at, as like the highest potential, this is the best, and this is the worst, and just leave it at that, because that's the easiest thing to necessarily try to like predict, right? Because like I said, a lot of these games this season, in my opinion, feel like they are going to be close, not complete blowouts, close. I'm talking 1 to 2 touchdowns, like 1 touchdown to like a touchdown and a field goal, kind of close. Like the skill of some of these teams have leveled up in some areas, and in some areas I feel like they've stayed stagnant, and in some areas I've seen it feels like they've gone down. But I think overall the league is kind of across the board kind of even in your teams that are good and your teams that are bad, and there's some deviations in there to watch for, if you catch my drift.
I mean, I kind of overall, I just feel like a lot of these NFC teams, like, I just don't know what to think about them. Like a lot of I'm looking at the schedule, and I'm looking at all the AFC teams that we'll talk about in the next episode. But like a lot of these AFC teams, I'm like, man, I want to pencil these on my calendar and make sure that I'm watching these games, because it's just going to be like fireworks. And a lot of these
prerequisite. One team you don't have to look out for, the Steelers. You can go to sleep, take a nap.
But like a lot of these NFC games, I'm just like, man, I can just read watch the highlights on Instagram and be perfectly fine. Like I just don't feel a whole lot of enthusiasm with like specifically this division that we were coming from discussion on, but it's just like, man, what are we doing here?
The NFC, I feel like there's not, at least in the last I guess the Rams have probably made the biggest splash in the last 3 to 4 years, but even then, not really. They've been pretty good still, like the last 3 to 4 years. I feel like the last 3 to 4 years there hasn't been a lot of deep, you haven't seen like like you didn't see Washington get deep in the playoffs or anything like that. Like they made the playoffs 2 years ago, but or like you didn't see Carolina make a run, you know, or you didn't see anything like that. So you haven't seen teams that you're like, oh, we're not used to. You didn't see Detroit do literally anything. Like you haven't seen teams that you're like, oh, they're not going to be great, or like you haven't seen anybody replace anyone. It's been the same 8 or 9 teams every year. Those are the 8 or 9 teams. In the AFC, like Cincinnati almost won the dang thing last year.
Yeah.
And then you have just a complete changing of the guard of like AFC North is absolutely stacked. Mahomes came in and started tearing things up. Like Josh Allen over in Buffalo, like now you got Derek Carr and Justin Herbert, and you added Russ to that division now too. Like you just have so many good QBs in the AFC East, and that's kind of what it boils down to is a lot of the QBs. But it's like it feels like there's so much more talent in the AFC. It's like, oh, I want to watch those games.
Yeah,
I want to watch these two go head to head. And the NFC, it's just like, it's the same 8, 9 teams.
Yeah,
like
that's exactly my point. I think it's the same. It's the same teams in the NFC that we're going to be watching. And like I said, maybe this can segue into us talking about the South, but like it's still going to be once again, I'm going to say it again. I'm not a betting man, but like, I feel like you can't bet against the Bucks except for when they're playing the Saints, because apparently kryptonite is black and gold. That's apparently what kryptonite is. It's black and gold, because apparently that's the only way you slay Tom Brady in the regular season.
Yeah, I mean the NFC South is like, it's like NFC South and NFC West are the only divisions in the NFC that feel like multiple teams have the potential to win it every year, or at least like every third year. Like there's good turnover. But yeah, between the Bucks and the Saints, like whenever I was filling out the schedule, I felt like I was splitting hairs to really determine who would win or who gets the edge. So for me, the Bucks are at 12-5, and then the Saints are at 11-6. So it's like the slight edge on who gets the divisional win and the home playoff game, but the other team is right there, gonna make the playoffs, gonna be a high wild card seed potentially. So like I feel like those two are clearly the cream of the crop in this division, but also like good enough to have, the second team still be ahead of the other wild cards.
Like I said, I deal in, ceilings, right? And so I actually both have the Bucks and the Saints at 12-5, simply because I think both of those teams are that good. From the point of the Bucks, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Gronkowski gone now, and Brady's like favorite receiver. I think he's still got a large amount of talent on that team. His defense is still A1, but I still have them losing both games to the Saints, because if history has shown anything, they somehow lose to the Saints even when Trevor Siemian has to play, which is by far beneath all of us. We still don't understand. We will take it, Mr. Brady. You got shellacked. Yeah. Go home. You lost to Trevor Siemian, who's now a backup on like another team somewhere else. Like
he's a backup on the Bears. We were just talking about it.
Yeah, the Bears. So
we're on the same. I think we're pretty much the same, except I have them. So for me, I have the Saints winning the division, but I have them also competing for the number 1 spot in the NFC. I have them at 14-3 because of what they're getting. Okay, look, they didn't have Jameis except for the first 5 games.
True.
The problem with those first 5 games is their defense didn't play particularly great. We lost to the Giants in overtime, which was like
a fluke.
How did you do that?
Yeah.
And then we lost to Carolina with Sam Darnold, which again, it's like, how did you do
He's
that?
going to be delivering pizza in like 3 weeks, so.
Yeah, so it's like, I think you kind of wipe that clean, and getting Michael Thomas back, getting Chris Olave, you have that offense now, and if Jameis just doesn't, like, the Carolina game was a really bad game for Jameis. The other games that Jameis played, he played pretty well for the most part until he got hurt and couldn't play.
Yeah.
If Jameis plays well, he would have now. Truly 14-3 is very optimistic. Jameis is going to have to play his best year of football
Ever.
But I think their defense is going to keep them in. Yeah, their defense is going to keep them in it, and I think Jameis is going to have a very good year. I'm on the Jameis train. I think he's going to be a quarterback that'll be around for the next 4 to 5 years in New Orleans, no problem, and do it like these 4 to 5 years are probably like New Orleans should be really, really good, assuming they don't lose everything to cap, to the salary cap. But,
Mickey, what's his name? It's Loomis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
Look,
Keep him. I need that guy to do my finances.
Assuming they don't lose everything to the salary cap, they'll be fine. But I only have them losing. Let's see. I think I got Cincinnati, Vegas, and I have them losing to Carolina in the last game. The other ones I have them winning every single one. That's including Rams. That's including Zona, both Tampa Bays, and Cleveland. But I don't think Cleveland they don't have Deshaun Watson, so I don't think they'll be that good. It's also a Baltimore game, which is a Monday night game, which will be a hard one. But a lot of confidence in them. I think they're a for sure shot for playoffs. At worst case, they get in as like a 5 or 6 seed. But it's ultimately going to be I think it's down to their divisional games. Do you win those 2 against Tampa Bay with an upgraded Tampa Bay? And do you beat Carolina, who just notoriously gives you some trouble? I don't think Atlanta should be an issue, but if you don't beat Carolina both games, and if you don't beat Tampa Bay both games, you're probably looking at wild card spot, either a 5 or a 6. So
I'm going to go a step further and say that Jameis Winston is my dark horse candidate for MVP of the entire National Football
League. I think comeback player of the year maybe, but not MVP.
I'm giving him dark horse MVP. I think your comeback player of the year is going to be Michael Thomas, because people are going to understand that man holds all the records for wide receiver, and that Cooper Kupp was the shadow of that man. I think Michael Thomas. Hard. I think Ben, come on, man.
No.
Thomas,
so it's hard
he got hurt.
It's hard to give. Jameis would have to have like a really, really solid season, because I would almost want to give MVP to Thomas. If that happens.
I understand, but this is my thing. Let's say the Saints do go 14 and something. If by the time they go 14 and something, Jameis is thrown, let's say he's on one of those. He's on one of those
4,800 yards.
Let's say he's on one of those 4,800 yard seasons again. Let's say he's on about 30, 35 touchdowns, close to 40, but he's only got like 10 interceptions. He's MVP. I don't see a way that you justify any other person in the league, because the Saints by far have the best deep threat in the National Football League. Period. Because what are you going to do when you play the New Orleans Saints? I can double team Thomas. Cool. But I got Jarvis right next to him. Okay, cool. I can double team Jarvis. Well, on the other side of the field, I got Chris Olave. Okay, cool. I can double team Olave. Well, dang, I still got Hardy.
You're out of defense.
I still got Hardy that I got to worry about. And then I still got to worry about the other 2 on the other side of the field. Then on top of all that, who I honestly believed was the best, he's going to be the best wide receiver 3 in the league, because he's clearly shown he's not a number 1 guy in Marquez Callaway. He is the ultimate, you forgot about me on the field, and you put your worst defender on me, and I'm going to burn his ass. Why?
He's literally Devery Henderson made over.
Exactly.
Where he's going to make one play a game where you're like, holy crap, that dude's still on the team?
That dude can play, and he's still on the team. And then if the icing wasn't already perfectly on the cake, you've got one of the best backfields in all of football, in Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram. You got one of the leading rushers in the league, and you've got Kamara, who just somehow magically looks like he's smaller than every person on the field, but you can't tackle him.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
The New Orleans Saints look like a threat on paper. If they can play to the potential that we believe, that the fans of the Saints believe that they can play to, and Jameis has a killer year, I'm talking Super Bowl. I'm talking we getting another ring bling. I'm talking I'm going to New Orleans for the parade and eating crawfish. Okay? This is I'm just letting you know. All right? All right.
Let Griffin get in here.
I'm sorry, Griffin.
Let
Go
Griffin
ahead. I
get
went
in
on a
here.
rant. My apologies.
No, you're good. Do I need to circle through both the Saints and the Bucks, because we kind of went from the Bucks immediately into the Saints?
Well, they're kind
Somebody
of a
likes the
joint.
Bucks.
They're
So
a
you
joint.
just-
They're a joint discussion because I think we're
Yeah.
all gonna have them as like 1 and 2, and it's like kind of close. So,
They're both in the
the same for me. It's the same for me. I've got the Bucks at 11-5, and then or 11-6, and then I've got the Saints at 12-5. Now the Saints, I mean, it's pretty easy for them. If I'm being honest. Now I do have them losing to the Bucks in Week 13 at the Bucks. What I think is going to happen is I think that they're going to beat them in Week 2. They're going to blow them out in Week 2. And then when it comes around to a Monday night game on Week 13, Tom Brady's just going to be like, you know what, fuck these guys, and he's going to sneak one out in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And he's finally going to get that first win. That's what I think is going to happen. Streaks have to come to an end. They always have to come to an end. But, I mean, it's pretty easy. I agree with everything that all of y'all have said. I think Jameis is going to be the MVP. I don't even think he's a dark horse because, I mean, he's going to come into his own this year. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be the best quarterback in the league. Hands down. You've got all the tools around him.
Yes, but the only reason why I say dark horse is because when you look at the other side, the other 16 teams, you've got Josh Allen, you've got Lamar Jackson, you've got freaking
Mahomes, Burrow,
Herbert, Burrow. You even got Tua over there. Like Tua can have a blowout.
You went too
Don't get too ahead of yourself.
You went too far.
That,
I've got a
Your
hot take. I've got a hot take once we get there. I got a hot take once we get there. But you get what I'm saying? Like the other side of the league has got some quarterbacks and some talent that you could be like, hey.
And you still got Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor. If they put up numbers, then that's hard to.
Like it's in there. So I
We're not
think
even mentioning
Jameis.
Derek Carr and Justin Herbert.
I think Jameis starts creeping in. This is my honest reason for why I say dark horse. Because I think if the Saints come into the season, okay, cool, you beat the Falcons, right? Week 1. Cut your teeth. Get the stretching out, you know what I'm saying? Cut your teeth. Right? Should be an easy game at Falcons. Beat the Buccaneers, okay. Let's say you beat the Buccaneers. Then you beat the Panthers and you beat the Vikings and the Seahawks. All of a sudden you're what? 5-0. I think if you're 5-0 and Jameis is having,
I have them starting out 5-0.
I have them starting out 5-0 as well. And I think if you're sitting there and you've got them at 5-0, and then you're sitting there going, they're at 5-0, and Jameis is having good games, and he's only thrown 3-4 interceptions like he did last year, but he's doubled the amount of touchdowns. I think people start sitting there going like, wait, hold up now. We need to talk about this.
We need
Because-
to circle back.
Yeah, because then going into week 6, the only reason why I have them beating the Bengals is because Eli Apple couldn't cover white on rice. And that's saying something. Because who you going to put him on? Because he is actually a liability. On the Saints offensive side, who do you put him on? I'm not putting him on Hardy because that's about to be Tyreek Hill and him last year. I'm not putting him on Olave because what they're talking about, what's coming out of that kid out of training camp, is he's putting DBs on their butts, literally. I'm definitely not putting him over on Michael Thomas. It's going to look like a Madden football game, and that's saying something. I've put 30 on the Bengals on Madden football, alone with Michael Thomas. And then I'm definitely not putting him on Jarvis Landry, who's also more athletic than Eli. So, like, realistically, I have the Bengals only losing because Eli Apple is the biggest liability I think I have ever seen across the board. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they win the Super Bowl.
I
If
think-
Apple's not there, so
I think we have. I think you're missing a key person that is a bigger liability, and he is a New Orleans Saint now, and that's Drew Sorensen, that Chiefs safety that can't cover a freaking soul. And
Oh,
I'm
wait,
pretty
dude,
sure-
wait, that's the one that Tyrann
Is that the
Mathieu
dude
just
Matthew keeps looking at? Yeah.
yes,
tweeted
yeah,
at.
they're both on the Saints
They're
now.
both
We got
back on
them
the
both at
Saints
the
now.
same time.
Yeah,
hold up.
they're-
If I remember
he literally would
correctly,
turn around and just be like, "What are you doing?"
Why are you
hey,
there?
we don't listen.
He's not starting.
We don't even have to worry about it. He's 3 on the depth chart. He's
Yeah, I was gonna
just
say,
he
just
is
saying.
he's
he
back
is
there, back there.
he,
Just saying.
he is like we need a body.
I didn't want you to forget.
People before Daniel Sorensen, Marcus May,
May
C.J.
and-
Gardner-Johnson, P.J. Williams, and Bradley Roby. All
And
4 of them
JT
are coming.
I just
Gray.
wanted
And
the
GT Gray.
I just wanted the record to be known that I have seen a bigger liability in my life, and he's
Yeah.
our problem now.
Yeah.
Oh
he's-
no, man! Listen, Eli decided to put the biggest target on his back, and you know it's bad when literally every team is
It's like,
like,
I bet.
dude,
That
you're
was
the
dumb.
you're the person we target when we play you
Yeah.
You know that.
because you're that bad. You
Like-
know that, right?
Going back to the Saints schedule, the 5 losses that I have, I mean, 3 of them are good losses. They're the Bengals, Ravens, and Tampa Bay. And then the other 2 are kind of fluke losses. I have them losing to the 49ers at the 49ers, and then I
Alright.
also have them losing late in the season, week 17 at Philadelphia. It's just going to be one of those games.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
You know what it's like. Everyone knows what it's like. It's going to be one of those games.
It's
The game we
January
should
1st,
win.
New Year's.
Game we should win, and somehow we're still stuffed from like Thanksgiving turkey in December, and
Exactly.
mess around and lose. So you know what? I'll agree with you on that one. I'm okay with it.
I think they're somewhere between, like, they should be a playoff team. They should be somewhere between 10-7 and 14-3. That if they fall right around there, they're right on track. I'd like to, obviously, as a Saints fan, I'd like to see them be 14. I'd love to see them go 17-0, but I don't think any team is going to go 17-0 this year.
I think if they get 10 wins, they have underachieved.
Yeah, with the lineup they have, at least on offense, if they only get 10 wins, I think that Jameis had a atrocious year. Now, I will say the one caveat to Jameis, he has not had a QBR on a season over a 65, except for last season when he only played 5 games. So he hasn't exactly had the best on paper, but with the weapons that I feel like he has similar weapons to throw to than when he did back in Tampa Bay when he had the Bruce Arians offense.
Right.
And if they can do anything even remotely close to that, then I think he'll have
be
like
somewhere.
a absolutely crazy, like that 5,100 yards is doable, and 33 touchdowns is doable just without the 30 interceptions. You know, and if he can do, like, he can do it. So,
What's funny is all the conversation we've had around the Saints have been from an offensive standpoint. That's not even talking about
They're
Cameron
Stacked
Jordan,
defense.
studs.
Compassion, whatever the hell you
I don't
pronounce
know how
his
to say
last
his
name.
name.
Yeah, K something. Taco Charlton, David Onyemata, Contavious Street, Shy Tuttle, Malcolm Roach,
Davenport, Warner, Davis,
Granderson,
Debo.
Peyton Turner. There's a reason why, you don't even
There's a
have to
reason
talk
that
about the
Brady
Saints
struggles.
defense, because the Saints defense is like,
That's not the
Bunch
question.
of
Mark.
dogs.
you
They're a bunch
look,
of dogs.
you look at them and you go, wait a minute, Malcolm Jenkins retired. Who did you replace him with? Is that Tyrann Mathieu?
Yeah.
Is that Marcus May? Is that Marcus May back there?
Yeah.
Wait, you added Taco Charlton? What? Y'all
We're gonna be
got
alright.
better on
We're gonna be
defense?
alright.
Wait a minute, Davenport goes down like 6 times throughout the season. He even lost a part of his pinky this offseason, right? You're like, wait, Davenport goes down. Who's going to replace
Oh, we got
Davenport?
Peyton Turner.
It's like, oh, we got Peyton Turner. Oh, we got Carl Granderson, and you're just like,
Stop.
why? Just stop.
Yeah, I mean, there's a
doing?
We should
reason.
be a
There's a
top
reason
5, top 10 defense easy.
There's a reason that Brady struggles with this team.
That's
it's
because
not by
the front
accident.
four literally don't give. I'm pretty
There's
sure.
no
Not
breathing
because
room.
Trevor Siemian won us the game. Let me tell you
Yeah.
that.
Oh no, I mean, but the
Smothering
thing was,
defense,
and
for
that's the
sure.
key. If you want to beat the Saints, the ball needs to be out of your hand in a second. That's
Yeah.
how you beat the Saints.
Right.
The ball has to be out of the quarterback's hand in a second, because if it goes over a second and a half, there's a very high percentage that you are on that turf or on the actual grass. Period. Because they're big, they're bad, they're hungry, and they're coming.
Tampa Bay didn't
But
score on
he's
us.
looking at
15
he's
either.
looking at this defense like, all right, I can't beat them because they have like a pretty good secondary, but it's mainly their linebackers and their D line that's like really getting to me. And then they just go out and then they just get the entire backfield, and he's just like, God damn.
You're like, okay, cool. I
I'm too
can't
dang
throw
old
it.
for this.
You're like, man, I can't throw it towards Lattimore because he's literally caused the second most incompletions in the league. Oh, let me pick on the new guy, Adebo. Wait a minute, Adebo's kind of
Pretty good.
cracked too. Then you're like, okay, cool. Let me pick on whatever guy is being guarded by CJ, and then you're like, well, I can't really pick on CJ either because that guy probably got kicked out the game because CJ was talking shit. Then you're like, okay, cool. Let me pick on Tyrann, and then you're like, wait a minute, it's Tyrann Mathieu. The dude somehow picks the ball out the air. So like, you're sitting there going, how do we win this game from an offensive standpoint? Like, yeah, you might get them on some crosses and stuff, but the parts for me that I love, because I follow the Saints really closely on Twitter, is all the stories coming out of the training camp are like, yeah, it's a good thing that these wide receivers are playing against this secondary, because this is probably the hardest secondary they'll go up against, and it's your own team, which is the worst part.
The only way you're going to beat the Saints, I think you have to go 5 wide and get linebackers out on those wide receivers. That's the only way you're going to do it. Is you have to go 5 wide. You have to get Evans, Godwin, Julio, and Russell Gage all on the field at the same time, and pray that one of them gets a matchup. Yeah, they're bigger and
Some
faster than the other
separation,
person.
yeah.
Like, you just have to pray. That's a lot of bodies running routes, so like, yeah, you have a lot of overlap, but like, you have to that's how they're going to have to win games. Is they're going to have to rely on those. Now, that's a lot of wide receiver talent. That wide receiver room is impressive.
Right.
But
You can tell me that I'm wrong, but I don't think that any Saints player is going to get Defensive Player of the Year, because that defense is so well rounded and they're so good that no one's just going to stand out, really.
Yeah.
Because it just seems like most of them are just stars. You're going to have to go somewhere else to look for an award to give.
Right.
the whole team will just be good. Like you don't have like an Aaron Donald where he's just like carrying the defense.
Exactly.
You don't have a Micah
Yeah.
Parsons where it's just like you don't have.
He's a one-man show out there.
I mean, that's the
solid
thing.
Defense top to bottom.
Yeah, it's a solid defense top to bottom, and there's another team that I feel about like this when it comes down to a defensive standpoint, and they're on the Saints schedule, which is why I think it's going to be such a good game and a must-record game, which is the Baltimore Ravens. Their defense on paper it rivals the New Orleans Saints. And it's just like with the Saints, it's like I said, it's like one of those things. I can go all day talking about the offense, but like the defense, you sit there and you just look at some of the names on paper and you watch interviews of these guys and you're just like, I'm scared. And I don't even play football on that level anymore because some of the guys are like Davenport. The guy literally talked about it last year. He's like, yeah, I have a nutritionist that I pay year-round because if I miss a meal, that's the difference between me weighing like an extra 10 pounds of muscle and me being under 10 pounds. He said that's the difference in me getting pushed off the line and me blowing some guy so far back, he doesn't know what to do
Into
with
the
himself.
quarterback's lap.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's like, it shows, right? And so the biggest thing is that I'm sitting there and I'm just like, man, you know, even with some of these guys, like maybe, you know, Cam Jordan, he's getting a little bit older, right? He's getting up there in age. Cam's still like one of the leading sack guys in the NFL from the defensive end position. So it's like, you know, you're sitting there and then you're like, okay, cool, he needs to come out and take a break. Put whatever the K guy last name is in. Then you're like, okay, that guy needs a break. Cam, you still good? No, I need a little bit more minute. Okay, cool. You put Taco Charlton in there and you're like, guys, they're on their third string DN and this guy's a monster. Like, do you know how good of a defensive end position you have to have that Taco Charlton is your D3?
Yeah.
The crazy part about this Saints team, they've gotten, like, the defense has gotten better in the offseason, and if you look at their losses last season, the offense that they had, whenever they lost those games, like, the biggest one is Philly. They lost Philly, and I think they gave up some defensive, they had some defensive touchdowns in that one, I believe. Yeah, they had a pick six, and yeah, they had a pick six in that one. Like, so really they only gave up 30 points, but a lot of those are field goals, so a lot of those are defensive stops. Like, time of possession, New Orleans awful in time of possession because they didn't have any offense because other people were hurt. So for the defense to only give up 20, like, I think their average was like 20 points or something like that, like 25 points. Like, you're going to have an offense that is going to be more competitive this year as long as if everybody stays healthy, obviously. But they're going to be so much more competitive. Your defense isn't going to have to be on the field for, 38, 39 minutes out of the 60-minute game. You're not going to have to be on the field for more than 2/3 of the game. So they'll be rested and ready to go. And the Saints are pretty much every game the Saints have against another, top, Tampa, Cincinnati, Zona, Vegas, Baltimore, Los Angeles, San Fran, Cleveland, Philly, all of those games. I'm you got to watch those games because those are going to be, good games against top talent.
And the thing is, notice most of the time, the teams that show that they have the most success against New Orleans from an offensive standpoint, I can tell you one thing, it's not the Matt Ryans and the Tom Bradys. It's the scramblers. Why? Because somebody else, you have to account for somebody else. Like you said, in most situations, I think the only way that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win realistically we went 5 wide receivers because then somebody's got to be in an uncomfortable matchup.
Or they're able to just run the ball, but I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball that well, especially with Fournette. Fournette needs to lose a little weight if they're going to keep running the ball like that.
He needs to go
the bowling ball Fournette, baby.
Fournette needs to go hang out with the wrestling team for 2 weeks or something.
He needs to do something. That man came in too heavy, but look, I understand we've gone a little off track. One of my other teams to watch for this division is the Carolina Panthers, simply because I don't know where
Yes.
Baker Mayfield is going to fall on this team. I don't know if he's going to start. I don't know if he's going to be a backup. My ceiling for this team with Baker Mayfield playing as quarterback is around 9-8. I still think that, like, you know, somebody needs to go pick up McCaffrey from them so that he could stop breaking his ankles or whatever the heck he keeps injuring every year. Because if I remember correctly, if I read the statistic right, last year McCaffrey is still on average and that's with him being hurt, still the number one tailback in like carries because of like literally how much their offense uses him. Like it is insane, and that's with him getting hurt. Like somebody needs to save that man. Like his career is good. We all think he's a great person.
Since 2020, all right. High ankle sprain, missed 6 games in September of 2020. November of 2020, shoulder and AC joint sprain, missed 4 games. December of 2020, he strained his glute. So he missed 4 games. That injury, that was most likely just they're like, the season's over, screw it. September of 2021, hamstring injury, 5 games. November of 2021, rolls his left ankle, out for the rest of the season. So the last 2 seasons, he has been just, it's all his right leg too. It's all one leg. So that's another thing. That one leg has been through so much rehab and so many problems.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, how much more can that leg take? So,
well, look, it's time to start running to the left side of the field then, like something, man, because they use him too much. I never thought that was possible for a football player, but it is everything apparently is possible at Carolina. They use him too much. They need to.
He has been the offense for a long time.
According to this stat tracker, he has an 84% chance to miss at least 1 game in 2020 or 2022. An 84% chance.
They've got like Vegas odds on missing. Game.
They're like, he is a high risk injury, but they also said so on a 1 to 5 scale, his durability is a 5, which is ability to produce while injured, because he is a stud. Even when he's injured, he can still fucking play.
Yeah, he'll still get out there.
It's crazy.
For me, I'm a Baker y'all remember I'm a Baker Mayfield like fiend, but for me,
he had to move his house, man.
Yeah. I've got Carolina down at 4-13. I just don't. I don't see it.
I gave him some slack, but
the Baker fanatic doesn't even like Baker, man.
Look,
that's saying something.
They 100% win the Cleveland game. There's no way Baker loses that game.
Yes,
I don't care.
Facts.
Low key, I would give them that win even if they had Deshaun, because I'm just like, Baker's so gonna stick it to him. But then just like completely crap the bed the rest of the season. Like I gave them a split with New Orleans, a split with Atlanta, and then I let them beat Pittsburgh. But like that's it.
And let them beat Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh let them beat Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I was gonna say Pittsburgh beat Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh doesn't instill a lot of confidence. But like I feel like Carolina, Matt Rule is looking for one of the big like college football head coaching jobs to come available, and he's just going to skirt back down to the college football ranks. Feels like.
Look, man,
the rest of the team just doesn't instill a ton of confidence for me. So
look, they had to start scammy Cam Newton last year, okay? And they didn't have McCaffrey for most of the year as per injuries.
Yeah.
They started out 3-0. Now, they had the Jets, New Orleans, and Houston. But, I mean,
well, this year they've got Cleveland, the Giants, and New Orleans. So
they can be better. I have them at 9-8, which is a little generous. I'm thinking more towards like 7-10.
Yeah.
But I think they could be a 9-8. I think they're the 3rd in the division.
Thank you, Benjamin.
I don't like Atlanta. I think they're 3rd in the division. I don't think they're going to be a good team. They will be below 500, probably. I have 9-8 as like this is an absolute best case scenario because I was like, yeah, they probably should win this game.
That's where I'm at.
I was like, they probably should win this game, but they won't, you know?
Yeah.
And there were too many of those where I was like, oh yeah, they should win because they have an easy schedule. Like it's not hard.
That's what happens when you get a fourth place schedule and you're playing everybody's fourth place.
Yeah. Like you caught Cleveland and New York Giants as two of your like outside of conference games, and then you caught Denver, I think. So like that's pretty good luck there.
Yeah, they did get Denver.
You just have to go, or no, they caught Detroit. Yeah, they caught Detroit. So like it's pretty easy for them. They should not. Yeah, New York, Detroit, and Denver as their out of conference stuff. So like those are winnable games. Not that they're gonna win them, but they're winnable. They should win them. I think they'll, realistically speaking, 7-10, 6-11 is probably where they're gonna end up. I don't think they'll be as bad as Griffin's about to tell them, but
Yeah, boy, I was about to say Griffin has been shaking his head since
what
like
you,
the start of the
where you
day,
got him,
so I
Griffin?
gotta
You a
hear it, man.
2-15, you a 1-6, you a 0-17?
I tried that last year.
No,
with
I'm not.
Houston. It didn't go that well.
No, they won't go 0-17. I think I thought that I had them at 6-11, but I actually have them at 5-12, and
Okay.
that's tough. That's tough to give them a 5-12, but I think it's very realistic for this year. I'm not sold on the whole quarterback situation right now with Sam and Baker. Honestly, I think that the best quarterback right now, and I'm hearing only good things from there, is Matt Corral. I think that he actually has a solid chance at being a starter at the end of the season. I really and truly believe that. And I'm not sold on Christian McCaffrey because he is injury prone, and from Carolina's track record, they don't take care of their star players. They just use them until they eventually die, and they're not usable anymore. So, I mean, I have them beating the Giants, the Falcons, the Steelers, and the Lions, and that is it. That is all that I give to them. I just think that the whole quarterback situation is really going to screw them this year. And with Christian just being like, oh God, where is he going to be? Is he going to be here or not? It's going to just throw them into a frenzy.
Fair. That's fair.
So, last but not least, for the 16 NFC teams, I guess no one wants to talk about Atlanta.
You're gonna make me do it. You're
We're
gonna
all-
make me.
we're all-
You're gonna
we're all
make me
Saints
do it,
fans.
dude.
Okay, I'll go first because I feel like I can read the room and I feel like I'm probably going to have the best answer. I went 6-11 for the Falcons. I gave them third place in the division. I think that they'll go above Carolina. For me, I just think that, like, if I'm being honest, the only thing that separates them in my head from not being Carolina is the fact that I think Marcus Mariota, given the fact that he's like for sure the guy, is enough to give them a couple wins. And for me, I gave them wins. They have Cleveland, they have Seattle, I gave them a fluke win over the Chargers because the Chargers are just going to Chargers. But like after
I agree the Chargers going to charge ring, but not to Atlanta.
Okay.
Come on, bro.
I don't have them winning a single game after week 9. So like
Show
I
a
think
hand.
that-
They're going to be 6-3.
I think they're gonna have a
Cody.
like this
They're
strong
going to be
start.
6-3.
Cody. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna show you how to read.
Banger
the
to
room,
end
okay? Raise your hand if you don't have them winning more than 4 games.
Oh, if you don't, yeah, I've got them winning 2.
See, that's how you read a room, Cody. Nobody likes
That's why I
the
wanted
dirty
to go.
birds.
That's why I wanted to.
I've got them as a ceiling of 4-13. That is how bad. This is how bad the Atlanta Falcons are. I have a buddy of mine that Ben knows. You remember Smokey Benjamin from Catholic High? We tweet each other every Sunday when the Falcons and the Saints either have to play or when they're playing in general. I need to send him his Twitter message already ahead of time to let him know how bad it's going to be, because my shit talking is going to go from here to here. Why? Because I already know they're going to lose. It's a done deal. There is no in between.
There's nothing good about this team.
There is no saving that Marcus Mariota or Desmond Ridder is going to be able to do with this football team.
Yeah,
hey, Felipe Franks, you cannot sell out on Felipe Franks, okay? Come on now.
Shut up, man.
I definitely...
Okay, I'm looking at this team, though. I'm looking at this team. Your hot take was that Kyle Pitts gets 2 touchdowns or more. If Mariota's throwing in the ball, I don't know if that's the case. Like, at this point, and it's not even because of Mariota, it's because Pitts is the only person that he can throw it to. I know who's a key. I know who.
No,
I know
he's got Drake London. He's got Drake London, the new guy.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. He's a USC guy, but like
a really tall USC guy. They said they got him because he's an end zone threat. Yada yada yada.
I also don't know who Brian Edwards is. Brian Edwards is a 3rd-round pick in 2020. Like, and then Zacchaeus was whatever on that team last year. Like, I mean, Kyle Pitts is your only guy. Cordero Patterson is a kind of running. He's there to return kicks and punts.
Yeah,
that's what he's really there for. Otherwise, he wouldn't have a spot on anybody's roster really, because he's not a bad running back, but he's not a great running back. And their
who you saying is gonna return
Cordero
kicks?
Patterson.
Well, sorry to break it to you, but right now the kick returner, it's Avery Williams is their kick returner.
And the only reason that's the reason is because Cordero Patterson is somehow the starting running back, which he should not be. He's a good player in space, but he can't run between the tackles, and he's not.
They're not gonna ask
he
him to do
returned
that.
all those kicks and punt returns, but like that's where his role was.
Yeah.
He was a Devin Hester guy. He was sit back there, return punts and kicks. That was his role. He's not going to be a good running back. He hasn't been a great running back. You have theoretically 1 wide receiver in your rookie, so that's a lot of pressure on that rookie, especially when he's getting the number 1. Well, he'll get the number 2 probably, because Pitts will probably be lined up wide for a lot of. I imagine Pitts is going to be lined up wide for a lot of plays.
A lot more than most tight ends, for sure.
So, but like, this is not going to be a good football team. This football team is going to... And I know you have them at 6 wins, which is not good.
No, it's not good.
This is going to be a worse than not good football team. This is a bad football team.
I thought that I was going to be skewered on the Lions thing. I didn't expect DJ to have my back. So this is the only time that I've been on an island.
Listen, man, listen. In my opinion... The Falcons season died when their best receiver got suspended for betting against them.
That shit was so funny, though.
That's still pretty funny.
The fact that this dude was like, dude, I'm going to bet against y'all. Y'all are so scuffed.
He knew better. He knew better.
The worst part was they suspended him off of, like, losing money. Which,
yeah, I know they won. He probably caught a touchdown pass and they won. That's what it sounds like probably happened. Ridley probably caught a touchdown pass.
Ben. He was betting on them. He was hurt, and he was betting on them, and I think they lost, and he bet on them to win, and he was like, bruh, because he lost it was some minuscule. I think it was like $3,000 or something. Damn. It was something so ridiculous,
like laundry money. For him.
Yeah, it was like really compared to his contract.
If you wanted to really bet, just go get your boy to put $3,000 down. Like, you got to have somebody that'll go and place your bets.
His account was like Calvin Ridley 3. Yeah, it was like Calvin Ridley 3 or whatever his number is. It was like Calvin Ridley 18 or something. And they're like, I wonder if this is you, Calvin. He's like, it's not me. It's not me. And then they were like, reset email. And he's like,
dang. Yeah.
It sends
It
to his
was.
Atlanta Falcons company email.
Trust me.
You know?
Trust
Alvin
me.
Ridley 18 at AtlantaFalcons.com.
It doesn't give me pleasure to have either the
A 6-1
Falcons or the Carolina Panthers having to be third in this division. This is definitely a consolation prize. I have Atlanta at 6-11, Carolina at 4-13. If those two teams combine for 10 wins in any configuration, that would be a miracle. I totally agree. It doesn't make me feel like a good person to have to say that, but that's just the case.
I don't know. I feel pretty good. About that.
I just don't like watching bad football, which is definitely the case when these.
That's
teams
why I
are
don't
on
watch
the
them
team.
play unless they play the Saints, because then I get to watch the Saints get their ass.
Right.
You get to laugh. You get to have a nice
Say
laugh.
who that, and it's a good day.
All right, Griffin.
Pretty much.
Griffin, you get to tell me how wrong I am about the Falcons. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm sure I overreacted a little bit by the 6-win deal, but I have them at 4-13. That is me having to force myself to give them wins. Like I felt bad to the point where I was like, okay, maybe I have to let them win a little bit. Yeah, I have them going 1-5 in the division, 3-9 in conference. I have them going. Now this is where it gets a little bit interesting. I have them against losing teams. I have them going 4-4, and then against winning teams, I have them going 0-9.
Yep.
Big old goose egg against good teams. I mean, I don't need to say anything about Atlanta. They're just bad. They're garbage. Like, it was genuinely hard to find wins on this schedule. The Lions, I'll go back to the Lions. The Lions, I could find some games on there that I could give them wins, but I was like, they're not ready for this. This one was like, they're good enough to get to 4 wins, and they should get to 4 wins. I just gotta find the 4 wins that are on that schedule. I literally have them winning against the Cleveland Browns, Washington football team, Arizona, and the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's pretty much where I'm at on them. And you're already not starting the season off right in my book, when the only reason why Marcus Mariota is on your team is more like an insurance policy, just in case Desmond Ridder is as bad in the NFL as like people think he might be. Like, they're like, oh, he's got a great football IQ. I don't care if you have a good football IQ. Can you throw the football and it not get picked off? That's my biggest question, right? Can you put a ball in the air where only your receiver can catch it? Yes or no? If you can't check that either yes or no answer, I don't need to know if you have a high football IQ, what your passing completion percentage is. I don't need to know any of that. And I don't need to know any of your college stats, because honestly, you played at Cincinnati and whoop-de-freaking-do. Who cares? Where were you in the national championship? Exactly. That's what I thought. You were watching it at home like the rest of us. You were watching it at home like the rest of us.
You didn't play good teams in Cincinnati, and when you did, you got rolled on.
Rickrolled. Yeah. Yes, and you got rickrolled.
I gave them Carolina and Pitt for my 2 wins. Like,
yeah, I think I switched the card. I think
they
I
don't match up good against
Pittsburgh.
Anybody.
Actually,
like, they don't match up. They don't even match up good against, like, they're the weakest opponent on this. Carolina, if
I would say their weakest opponent is Pittsburgh.
Maybe?
No, if Carolina really sucks, it's Carolina. But other than that, it's Seattle, and I don't even have them beating Seattle. Like, I give Washington a slight bit more credit and have Washington still beating them. I have Pitt losing to them, and I have Carolina dropping one of the 2 to them, because I think Carolina is just not that good. They're not going to win a lot of games.
No.
It's going to be their defense should be fine. Their back 7 is pretty solid. Their secondary is pretty good. Their linebackers are pretty good. I'm not jazzed about their 4 down linemen too much. But they can probably can probably hold a team to 35 points, 30 points. Their problem is their offense is only going to score like 10. And that's
it definitely was like I just had to pick a team that would surprise, and it was Detroit and Atlanta. I'm pretty, and Ben, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure we had this exact same discussion last year where I was like, I think the Falcons will be slightly better than everyone gives them credit for. And then what happened? They were absolutely terrible. So like
to go back and see, but yeah, I remember we had.
I feel like we had this very similar.
I think we had very little confidence. I think it was the same thing as last year where we had Saints and Tampa Bay at 1 and 2, and then you had Carolina as the 4 and Atlanta as the 3, and I had it flipped the other way because I was like, no, Atlanta's garbage.
And I made this same argument last year, so I guess
they'll be okay. And it's like, no, they won't. I mean, they won 7 games last year, so like,
which is less, which is more than I'm giving them credit for this year. So
yeah, but the problem is like their schedule was easier last year.
Yeah,
you had the NFC East. You had a random New York Jet. You had the NFC East and the AFC. I think that's the East last year to play, and so like you caught New York, and Philly, and Washington. So like you had some easy games, but they got blown out by Philly and they got blown out by Washington. They got 34 to Washington. You get 34 to the football team.
They don't even have a name.
They didn't even have Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick's leg was already in half at that point. Like,
was that Heineke or was that
I think that was the Heineken. I'm pretty sure that was the Heineken. They were drinking, baby, and they still beat them.
Yeah, they got whooped, and
they were drunk. Drunk, my friend.
That is just sad to me. Like that.
I think both of those teams collectively are just sad to talk about. It's just like, man, I wish if I don't even know if an all-star team of the best players from both of those teams, like if they just played together, I don't even know if that would be any massive improvement.
Now, I know people say that like no college team could beat
an NFL team.
Any NFL team. But I feel like if you maybe combined like 2 college teams, they could beat Atlanta. You know,
listen, honestly, no cap. If you take the 2 teams that were in the championship,
or if you take the
Alabama and Georgia, put them together and even like split the teams in half down the middle after combining the teams into like a first team and a second team, they could beat the Falcons.
No, that's I feel like if you take like, I mean, that's a lot of good players. A lot of those players are getting drafted as it is. But I feel like if you take the full college football playoff teams and you draft the best, you put together the best lineups that you can put between those 4 teams. Yeah. I feel like they probably beat the Falcons. Like, the Falcons look bad. They look really freaking bad, and that's probably a little far fetched. But like that's how little confidence I have in the Falcons to do anything because they are so one-dimensional on offense. If you find some random talent that is good, that can put up some numbers here and there, and you have a little bit of defense, you'll beat these guys. So like, they're.
Look, y'all hold me to this. If this prediction of 6 wins is completely overshooting the mark, then for the rest of the time that we do these videos, Atlanta just gets a big fat 0-17. I don't want to hear anything about it ever again. Like I'll just tank the rankings every year and just be like, no, I'm never having any preseason faith in you guys ever again. I should have just listened to the New Orleans fandom in me and just said, no, you don't deserve it.
I mean, look, they pulled off 7 wins last year, which is honestly a lot more than I thought they were going to. But they are worse this year than they were. Like their quarterback is not like now. Not that Matt Ryan was lights out, but I thought Matt Ryan was a decent fit for that team. And then you also had Ridley and Gage. Like that's the other thing is you lost Ridley and Russell Gage. So like your team is brand new wide receivers. Somehow
Other than Pitts,
Zacchaeus is
basically.
still the number 3.
Yeah.
They also like,
Their
but
line,
Ryan was the problem.
their line's not
He
very
was just
good.
the expensive
Like,
problem.
Yeah,
Like Matt
Mary-
Ryan's like, guys, I can't even stay upright, and they're like, you're the issue. It's your fault. You can't stay
that's
upright.
the other thing is you have a rookie QB that you want to like. You have Mariota, but then you have Ritter. That's a rookie QB that you're about to throw the fucking lion. Like you were going to throw them to the wolves in the NFC South because you got to play Tampa twice.
I don't know, dude.
You got to play
when
New
I
Orleans twice.
When I made this schedule, in my head, I'm thinking Mariota plays the entire year unless he gets hurt, and they just tell Ritter to take notes.
Yeah,
Like if
figured
I'm
that too.
Atlanta, they're like, look, if I'm Atlanta, you have to be on a 5-year, like Philadelphia 76ers process, right here. You cannot like if you rush this and you just throw this kid in there and he gets snapped in half, then you have not been paying attention. Like it doesn't matter to your fan base that you're bad and consistently underperforming, that you should just like understand the situation, take a step back and say, look, let's just take it slow.
Look, guys,
and
this
take
isn't our
notes.
year. We're not gonna make it seem like we're losing for draft picks, but we're gonna lose for draft picks. Okay? Calvin, I'm sorry, but you're getting traded. No, don't cry. You're getting traded. We're getting 2 first rounds for you. You're getting traded.
No
we love
one's
you, though.
trading 2 first-rounders for Calvin Ridley.
Let's put it this way: the Falcons.
I trade a first round for
The
Calvin
Falcons
Ridley.
have the hardest
Calvin
strength
Ridley's
of schedule.
Pretty good.
They're the hardest strength of schedule for a losing record team. I think that the people that are in front of them, the Rams, the Cardinals, the Bengals, the Bucks, the Niners, the Chiefs, Raiders, Saints. All of those teams, I think, are playoff-bound teams.
Yeah.
You know,
And then the
playoff-bound,
Falcons.
winning record, whatnot. Then you have the Falcons.
Yeah.
Like, then you get Falcons, and in there you get Seahawks and Panthers and whatnot. But, like,
You keep going all the way down to the bottom, and then you got the Eagles.
now you got the Commanders. Now you got
The 4
Commanders,
NFC
Cowboys, Eagles,
East,
Giants.
Yeah, the 4 NFC East teams.
And then Lions. But it's like, you have a gauntlet
No breaks.
of a schedule.
No
You have-
breaks.
there is no safe zone for you to go. You are going to just take these L's, like,
Back to back to back to back.
every
Back
week.
to back.
Every
back to
week.
back.
You might win a couple. You might win 4.
Honestly,
Well, between 6,
when
but, like-
when I was giving them wins, I had to be like, oh, they'll find a way. Like the other team will find a way to lose. Not the Falcons are so much better than this team that they have to be penciled in for the win. I'm just like,
No Falcon win was like, oh, they're going to win this game. It's like, no,
No.
they'll manage to not lose this game.
they'll manage to squeak by, or the other team will find a way to screw it up and just hand it to them. Yeah, that's kind of where I was at with that.
Yeah, they're going to be bad.
Yeah, not a ton of confidence.
Let's see.
That's all 16 NFC teams. So that's the end of the first episode. Tune back in for episode 2. We're going to go over the AFC teams next. Obviously, there's a lot more fireworks and firepower to be talked about there. So, yeah, just that's going to be a hard discussion to be like, oh, yeah, this team is like, I don't think any of the AFC teams are necessarily like straight up bad other than Cleveland. Cleveland, if they don't have a quarterback playing, then they'll just kind of lay down on the season. But most of the AFC teams will probably be more exciting to talk about top to bottom. So, yeah, we'll catch you in the next episode.